All right. Your time. I need to have the notations up. What am I watching? Oh, that's Discord. Alright. Oh, whoops. I hate how that appears on the side, that's really irritating. So, flare exposing. Talking about his past self. Himself a loser, yellow. He says, based on what you're saying, I must have misspoke. Okay. So, I'm spoken. No, oh my gosh. Sorry, the guy in here? That was the EXE. That was the EXE wanted me to sculpt him into a private call. Yeah, you need to try to private call what? Yeah, because he wants to talk about something with me. Yes, I'm not going to reveal too much. But not going for the best point in his life, so yeah. He doesn't want to. He want to share that with you, so I'm going to go into a private call. But yeah, I'm not just gonna join the call. I'm moving. How come you're back in Zoom? What do you mean by that? Well, you want. Turn this down. I can't hear myself speak. It's too loud. What do you mean by that? I don't know how to do his voice properly. I can't distinguish through his voice. That takes too much effort. Oh, you were in here for a while. And you didn't have the same interests as the people in Zoom. So I was wondering how comes you're here? Oh, there's a lot of personal stuff, and the main thing would just be I'm in a really bad relationship. I was in a really bad relationship. I changed a lot during that in a lot of ways, and I guess there's a way to necessarily say better or worse, but I would say that my life has gotten better substantially. I just made no mistakes, and ended up not being in Zoo for 3 years. Oh, is that what you consider one of your mistakes? Oh, what? Not being here? Yeah, I've been in essentially everyone in my life, and was like, wow, I'm never gonna do that again. Alright, so what's my response to that? Oh, okay, so that's interesting. Because I don't want to inquire too much. I'm going to go into some personal deep dive in your life on, you know, how you left the zoo or whatever. It seems that I don't really know that well, so I feel comfortable inquiring into some things. I'm guessing it means I don't feel comfortable inquiring into his life. So I guess I'll just leave that there in terms of it feels as though I wanted to know more about you and why you left, but after encouraging really sure I'm gonna do that, so I guess I'll move the topic along. Okay. Yeah, I wish I didn't move the topic along so much. Curious in terms of, because I remember talking to you, I remember you getting me into JoJo's, remember watching Part 3 and all that. Part 3, I'm guessing. Part 3 and all that. And I hear now that you don't really like anime that much at all. I was curious, because I was never really too into anime, but I still occasionally watch it, dabble in it, and enjoy some products to do with anime. Do you completely dislike anime? Is there no anime for you? Or is it one of those, I don't like, mainstream, nonsense that's, somebody knows, really nonsense, has traits that you don't like? I was definitely uncomfortable even inquiring. That's why there's a myriad of when I'm thinking slow. And that was at the start of my day too. I just have to qualify that. Anyway. Mainstream nonsense, really nonsense, has traits you don't like. What's your relationship with anime? It's kind of like there is a lot to this. I had a lot in my life kind of just exit my mind. It actually caused a lot of issues in my life too. I remember one of those things was in my relationship. I forgot half the things that happened in our relationship. This happened like during when I was in training, and tons of things existed in my mind. And I don't know. I like it. I like talk. I like talk about this. It's so weird seeing the word like written because it's not really transcribed. Uh, when people say it, it really is a bullshit word. That is annoying. Fucking hate that word. Anyway, like I remember one of those things happening. Oh wait, hold on. I like talk about it with people, and I kind of describe it as like it was like a trauma thing. There's obviously a lot more to do. Wait, there's a lot more to it because, like we were talking about what with like the relationship thing, but yeah, no, I am I exited excited what I exited tons of things from my mind. And remember before I went to training, obviously there's more because the whole relationship thing, but I like, we're starting to not want to do anything with anime. Is that the drop? And then after training, okay, so what was blue? Lying about the post stuff? Okay. And after the training, I essentially anime just left my mind and not a thing anymore. It wasn't important, and I had, now that a few years ago, and I just over time, the only things that I really had as a representation of anime, it was the strangest, grossest things. I remember like, no, it's not for me. And so I could see how now, like especially with how I used to be, like how anime was like a big part in my life. He says like excessively. I noticed that through the conversation. I just learned to tune out because it was really annoying me in the beginning. I don't want to call that out again because I already did previously. Fuck, I wish I had that conversation at night because I'm just so much better at speaking right now. Man, put me at the worst time. Here we go. Hold on. Fix my posture. Just doing that thing where my eyesight is not the best, and I've got my chair away from the desk. I'm leaning in like a code junkie to read what's being said, and I even need to put glasses on. I need my glasses. E-reading, especially at night. E-reading. So I'm laying down. Used to lay down, watch Mario 64 while I read. I always liked having the background stimulation. I don't like reading them when it's completely silent because I lose trail of thought all the time because my brain is too overactive to read without noise. I need to have a distraction in the background so my attention. Sort of, I'll call it a metronome. It's a metronome. Is it a metronome or metronome? It's a metronome. Still smudge somewhere. Let's just put on my glasses. Okay, no. How anime was a big part of my life. I could see. You see? Regular fans versus local fans that listen to bullshit feel like two opposing ends of the autism spectrum. Fuck was that mean? Does that not wanna? Oh, this is what a word. Okay. No, I was meant to be on him. It was him. I needed this. But the best way to describe it was essentially how like you used to know me. You should almost like exit that out of your mind of like who I was like you know, like it was me, but I barely remember the half the stuff that happened. Some anime, so like anime is like fully like not I think I'm into, and it's not because of the mainstream or anything. It's just because I don't know. Every time I see something with anime, it's either something sexual, it's something cringe, or not into. You obviously know that anime. No, that anime isn't like that because you've seen anime. If I talk about my favorite anime, Monster, it's nothing like that. And you've seen Monster, right? You know it's not like that. I'm so straightforward. I'm so succinct. I love that. I wish I could be like that all the time. See, that's the thing. Yeah, I've seen these things. I know a little bit about it, especially a little bit about it, especially because recently I've started to kind of like remember some things as well, like Rickles and talking to like a farm and everyone. It's really sparked a lot of like memory, like of the anime that I've started to remember a lot about Kaiji. Oh yeah, Kaiji. I want to try to get you to get. I think I was the one that recommended to you. Really? Yes. Yeah. No, I remember that. They make a lot of references, and I started to actually catch on to what they're saying, but a lot of other anime no. Monster? I don't really remember much about Monster. Someone made a reference the other day and it totally flipped my mind. It was one of those RL films from back in the day. We're not friends now, but they made a reference and he was, you really don't remember anything about that? Um, but yeah, I know, well, I've definitely heard, I guess there's a lot of animes with serious topics and like, they're good. Good. I like that. Good. But I don't know. Just if you aren't really into something and someone's like, oh yeah, I mean, there's like a few good ones, you know. Why don't you watch those? I guess I don't want to. I already like, wait, I already have like not really, it's really hard to read. I'm just not used to reading superfluous words in my, it's just so hard to read a direct transcript of what he's saying. Like I already have like because it completely interrupts what I'm expecting next, because I do expectant reading where I know sort of what's going to come after a set phrase or word, and then I just see a like, and then I completely stop reading. That when that I'm trying to skim more than I usually do. So I have a higher FOV of what's going to be said in advance, so I can skip the likes. I already know, not really a wonderful, I don't know, watching or diving into something because of that. That's not an honest representation of what happened. It's not, oh, there are a few get anime, you should watch these, and you're not really into it. It's, you're really into this, and now the interest has vanished, and you've sort of took on a caricature view of what anime is, which it isn't. And it's not one of those things where if I understand somebody not engaging in something that they're not, something that they don't know anything about, and it's why would I take the risk? If someone is trying to get me to, you need to go and you come to get this casual, I know you can win so much money. Wait, I don't know you are far the enjoying it. You are way into anime more than I ever was. I'm not really into anime. I just bring this topic up out of interest of this. Could be anything. Could be with anything. If it was with, I don't know, if you're into some video game that you no longer like and have some really strange views towards that that are a caricature of what the game actually is or what said hobby actually is. It's really strange to me. You were super into this. Sorry, I thought I didn't mean to interrupt. That's fine. I just finished what I was saying. No, I don't view it as a risk at all. It's just disinterest. What was the yellow one? So I see orange, yellow, looks a little bit similar. Based on what you're saying, I've misspoke. Okay. So let me reanalyze what he said. Because Make sure you enable the sidebar. Click the button on the far left to expand this bar. That way you can toggle between the different color codes. Oh, okay. Sound. Not a review, it's just disinterest. I don't know. I guess I might be kind of represented it wrong. Where does this disinterest come from? Because it feels as though it's a proactive disinterest rather than a passive disinterest. I don't know. I'm around a lot of people where they love anime, but you have to realize that it's not the case for, you know, almost 3 years. Right. So, I mean, this is not even something I really think about, but now it's something that, you know, has been brought up all the time. People are really bringing up anime. And I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say, yeah, I hate anime. It's something I talk about, like all the time. It's not the case. We got the blue. Everyone's always talking about it. So I guess I'm just not really, I'm just kind of in the middle of that. Oh yeah, cool, whatever. I don't hear too much, like, you know, and then, I guess there like a few people that are like, oh yeah, you should really watch them again. And I don't really see that. I don't really want to. I'm just into other things. That seems strange to me. To me, it feels more of a proactive disinterest rather than a passive disinterest. I'm disinterested in many things that I just don't engage in, but if somebody told me to engage in it, be honest, I would attempt it because I have no knowledge of what you're talking about. Well, like no knowledge on the said hobby you want me to engage in. So if you really want me to engage in it, sure. But your disinterest seems proactive. That you're proactively helping yourself from engaging in a particular anime. It's such a correct autopsy. This flag guy is absolutely correct. On the ball right now. Okay, what was gray? Do the left for pussy. Okay, I didn't understand when you first said that, but I completely understand now. Okay. Makes me think you have a weird relationship with... Makes me think you have a weird relationship with anime. Because, I mean, that is true. That's not false at all. What goes back to what I was saying before, what I was saying about, like, you know, there's stuff that happened in my relationship. So, yeah. I mean, you're right about that. There is a little bit more to the story. Would you kind of make a difference? Yeah, I mean, definitely adds to some of the, I guess, resentment towards anime, and I guess it would really just add a lot of resentment to who I used to be, especially due to the fact, you know, I'm not, wow, that was a terrible voice. I'm sure it's a fun thing. I know it adds a lot of resentment for who I used to be, but I am especially because I'm not really nothing like I used to be, and a lot of who I used to be in my mind isn't something in my mind. So something like, especially when I was in a relationship, a lot of who I used to be kind of had a lot of reproduction. So it's like, you know, it's like, dang, that sucks. Look at me, you know, but interesting that you see yourself as so different, because to me, I haven't talked to you in a while, but you don't seem, your disposition seems similar to what you're for. Yeah, so you feel ashamed towards who you used to be, for sure. What is green? New self is a winner. No, we're gonna see a lot of green. Yeah, why is that? I guess who I used to be wasn't what I wanted to be. I always had the idea of the person I wanted to be, the things I wanted to do. You know, all these different things all the time. I guess, I mean, I didn't really have anyone in my family pushing me in any direction, or everyone in my life, my friends weren't very communicative on what exactly I was trying to do, so no one was really pushing me in the direction I wanted to go in. And then I got into a relationship for year one, and she essentially pushed me in a good direction. Everything I wanted to do, she was, yeah, I got, you know, no problem. And so essentially, you know, almost, I know this sounds really bad, but a lot of my goals, I've achieved everything I wanted to. And I have to make new goals because I've done everything I set my mind to, which is awesome. What did you want to do? I'm curious if you want to share that. A lot of active things. I have a few goals left, but a lot of them are career based and a lot of them are mindset based. What color is this? This is green. This is also green. One of the main ones was obviously joining the military, something to do with firefighting, and well, I ended up doing well. There's a lot to it. I don't really know how the UK is with some things, but I ended up being able to, you know what that is now? It's emergency medical technician, so BMS paramedic is a way to put it. It's essentially a bigger paramedic, but normally EMTs are firefighters. So I ended up getting attacked matched to fire calls and stuff like that. So I ended up essentially becoming a firefighter, never really, but never really. There's a lot to it. I never ended up getting my fire training, and I never became a firefighter because there's a more I'm guessing of an opportunity with way more money came to me now. You know, I make I think I told you about that. I make night vision for our military, other military civilians, and it's really high up a job, but I end up being one of those decisions that I made after I got out of my relationship, and it's something that I bit regret because I kept on saying how I made all these decisions and started pushing myself, and I really I won't say I was pushing myself, but you know, when I was in a relationship, she was pushing me, you know, and then one of the decisions I make for myself, it's I quit one of my dreams, and I was like, oh yeah, I always wanted to become a firefighter. Well, well, I was right about to be a firefighter. I was probably a month, and I completed everything I need to, but I switched up because of money, and dang it, that really sucks. I wish I wouldn't have done that looking back on it, but now it's like I'm very committed, and you know, uh, I can change later in life, but I'm definitely stuck for a long period because financially I don't have an option. Yeah, I've had that. Obviously the military thing I ended up picking, so I don't know how much you know about the military jobs. I ended up picking one of the hardest. I went through one of the hardest trainings. So what is purple? Oh, is this magenta? This is magenta. Okay, so magenta is fucking magenta. Military focus topic includes what he did overseas and an explanation of regard of mine regarding the hierarchy of special forces versus regular grant, especially in the army. This is a good song. Essentially became a cop, but oh, but I don't know how much you know about the military. I ended up being one of the hardest ones. So, essentially became a cop. I started right where I left off, but a cop where you know, when I'm in America, it's I do cop work, but I go overseas. It's essentially just like one of the like almost like a terrorist attending security. I don't know. It was just a really cool thing. I was well. You know, I know I had at one point my folks, like my mom and everything, were like, yeah, no, you know, that's a really cool goal, but you'll never be able to join the military. And not only did I join, I did one of the hardest things you can do right before any type of special force, you know, like kind of MOS or job on top of that. I basically once became a firefighter, I became an EMT, and now I have the best job that's in my county. I just kind of made it overall in life. I have my own place. I have absolutely zero family relatives, so everything I own is my own. What is this in a response to? What did I ask? What did you want to do? I'm curious. Oh, oh okay. I mean, you tell me what he wanted. What was yeah? He talked about his goals. I wanted him to elaborate on that, and then I didn't have a single bit of help or anyone that I could rely on, and led to this mindset I currently have, which is not a good mindset, and I'm really glad for it because I became so much. It made me so much self-reliable. I've never been this self-reliable. Everything, single thing I do on my own. You know, I don't need anyone or anyone's help. Okay, I'm the type of person I refuse to either. I don't. I believe that people, you know, they're offering something. It's because they either have something to give or kind of, you know, it's not gonna refuse at the end of the day. You know, you don't really get but I don't really get options like that ever. No one's really trying to help me. So, or below. So, yeah, no, I just back when, for example, you knew me, I relied on anyone. I didn't have basically any real money to my name. I was a dead end job. If you, hey, this is a career. Arson, I don't know. It was, I kind of just did the wrong thing all the time. And what's green? Yourself as a winner. Now, I've done of integrity, and I feel like I'm always kind of, I won't say I'm choosing the right thing, but I just don't know. I feel certainly definitely a nicer person, which is something I've always wanted to feel like. I just don't know why be a jerk. What's the point? You know, I'm kind of glad that I've changed in all the different ways kind of like mentally, like who I am, what what I feel like I'm presented as. I mean, I know no one online sees me who I truly am. This is a really funny statement. That's something that I immediately confused the fuck out of me when he said, you know, you're really like, oh, you did that? And you're on top of it, you know, you have to believe it, you know. Oh, this loser back in the day, he's done all these things, you know. It's like, it's really, I didn't really, I didn't know any of your situation before, so this is the first time hearing it. So when you say, you know, loser, yeah, I never really saw you like that. because because I didn't know your situation. I wasn't really the things that um those were really the things that we did together were engaged in hobbies. So I I sort of saw a different side of you. I'm guessing what I'm saying, but it's really interesting the way you put it. You know who you really are. I don't know that don't get to. I don't know that I don't get to, from your perspective, I don't really get to access who you really are because it seems from what you told me, you gain a lot of your identity in your ability to rely on yourself. And I think it's really good. I think what you've done for yourself is really good. Where you came from to what you want to know. The fact that you were able to rely on yourself, I really appreciate that. And you overcame having a dead end job, and now you're doing one of the hardest things, aside from doing special ops stuff in the military, that your local county provided for you. I think that's really good. I think this is excellent. I think that is excellent. Being able to achieve for yourself. So I definitely there is no what am I trying to say? I understand why you feel really proud of yourself, because from what you were trying to be, even though it didn't really sound from your inflection, but just the way you presented it, it definitely seemed that you were proud of it, and I think you should definitely be proud of what you achieved and relying on yourself. So yeah, I would just say that to congratulate you, but on the topic, it's really interesting because it seems as though the way you present it, it's that I won't know who you really are. That's really interesting because you sort of separate how you interact on the internet as separate how you act on the internet from who you really are. And I see that just a lot in life where, let's just say somebody is something, where let's just say someone that is something that would come up a lot, where just in social groups where somebody would say this about something. Let's just say, I just use an example of Adam, you know, just a random name, but that comes to mind. Oh, Adam is completely unlike himself when he's in a group, you know, just so nice, and then he just acts like a cunt, you know, when he's in a group. And they sort of separate that they separate Adam who from who he is in a group versus when he is alone. They sort of see as he's not acting as himself, he is not himself. It's really interesting because that never really made sense to me, because wouldn't that still show who he is? You can't separate that. That's who he is. That's how he acts in an environment that is a part of his identity, whether you want to associate it or not, which is really interesting because who you are on the internet and the way you present yourself, that's revealing to me of of who you are, at least on the internet, and how you interact. That's all going to come out. How we want to treat people, how you interact with people, that still exists as a part of you. So when you say, I don't know who you really are, there's a perspective you can have, and I won't know who you are proud of. I'm guessing I'm going to say what you're proud of. What you are proud of. Oh, there we go. Back to myself, because I can't. That's not something that's going to be shown on the internet. You don't have your income next to your name and what you've come from. There is no, I'm trying to say here, that exists on the internet. So I'm never going to see that and what you're proud of as what part of your personality you're proud of. But I still think, how you act, the qualities that you show, even in small situations, like talking to your parents, talking to, a brother, a smaller brother or sister, that's still indicative of who you are, at least in that environment, I would say anyway. I don't know what you think of that perspective. No, I actually agree with what you're saying. You are an internet's part of who you are. And what's orange? I don't think, orange folks was I will say that you kind of, well, I think you represented it wrong or something, but I also don't think you really know who I am because I don't talk to you. Yeah, that is what I'm saying. I don't even know anything about you prior to that, apart from the on the face disposition that you showed me. Yeah, no, I actually agree with what you were saying. That a lot of people, actually they kind of, it sounds cringe to say, I don't really know what the word is, but who they are on the internet, I guess, is a very part of their personality, because it kind of brings to, I think, that with me a little bit. I messed up. I missed the one. Sorry. It's a very big part of their personality, because people will go online and they'll be whoever the fuck they want to be. One of the things I've noticed a lot too, because I don't know, and we're on Pablo now. He's 100% he's in therapy, and at the end he's indicating that he's objectively lying about not causing harm to his friends, which I think is a couple. Okay, this is what I'm the most curious about. I don't have. I talk about like a lot of the good things I've done, but I have struggles. A lot of them, like, I don't know, like therapy related level struggles, like things I really need to work on about myself. Like accumulated a lot of violence. We talked about this not too long ago, but I have an issue with speaking my mind. I'm really good at keeping work life and personal life. But if something irritates me, I don't know. I've been on this story throughout the week. I remember someone following me home because someone from Montreal. I was like, what the fuck? Because I started cutting them off. Like my type of way isn't driving off someone or trying to lose them. I come to a stop, I get out of my car, and he drove off. That's usually how these interactions, how that type of interaction, like those types of interactions go. I'm not really afraid of interacting, afraid to interact again. I'm just in front of someone's face. I don't care. Like, I'm not against that, a lot of those traits, like people, they'll go around and kind of act like that's who they are, but that's because on the confidence tab on the screen, they don't actually have to interact with anyone. I don't know. It sounds really bad. Like, I know I'm not going to win every fight I get into. I know I'm not all that and more. I understand that. I've been like a bloody to a pulp because I'm retarded and I get into fights. I know I can't win. And this, I'm still like, that's my personality at the end of the day. I'm confrontational when it comes to things, and you'll get the same online, but there will be people who act the same way, but in person they're on, so the internet gangs still, I'm going to try to say. So it's like, what you are getting online, sorry, I'm representing this so bad, but what kind of who I am online is actually who I am. It's so weird because he's sort of saying I agree with you, but then presenting a completely different What the word be? Conclusion to what I said. What's this in response to? He agrees with a lot of what I'm saying. When I speak, I'm not really offensive on my mind. That's who I am. I'm not buying a stream. I'm not talking about my phone. You know, like, I know this says, like, phone call, you know, I don't really care at the end of the day. So blue, plus off. You know, it's hard to see that as well because there's so many people where they'll say all this and more, and you'll come face to face with them and then nothing like they were. And that's who I used to be back in the day when you talked to me, you know, a lot of who I was hiding by the screen pathetically. I mean, look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, what the frick was I doing? But you were talking shit to people behind the screen back in the day. I was incredulous. It didn't seem like his disposition at all. But it seems as though from what EXE has said, and prior from Tricky's and Ando just to get supporting positions, it didn't seem as though he was this kind of person. Very interesting. You know, I act all cocky. What? Where the heck? I don't even know where that was coming from because the honest truth, I had nothing to show for it. I mean, I don't know what that was. I guess I was just a kid. Like, you know, bad excuse. But, you know, I didn't, it's funny, I'm reading this and I'm getting memories of what I was doing at the time he was saying all of this. I'm just getting like the Mario Kart tracks beamed into my head as he was talking about these. I think I was watching Rip and Roll at this point. You know, it was a bad excuse. This bad excuse thing was stuck in my head because I was going to correct him, but then I stopped myself because it's just a completely irrelevant injection. I tried to stop myself from interjecting, but you know, I just didn't know what I was doing, and I just didn't have the experience yet to be accountable for my actions. But now I do. You know, something happens, and I'll take accountability, even if I mess it up. It's yeah, no, that was me. You know, dang, like suck, but you know, come back. You know, I'm just not afraid of saying. I still don't have fears, but I'm not afraid of kind of, you know, repercussions. I'm not afraid what my actions, well, I'm saying this all wrong, but I think you kind of get what I'm saying. Going at here, what you're getting online is actually me, which is uncommon, I feel like. Which I don't know. I actually do want to dive into this as well as a later topic. I'm kind of curious on what. I'm kind of curious if that's kind of what you offer to the table. It seems you kind of represent yourself similarly. And you know, it's funny because he started mimicking me with "you know." I don't remember him saying "you know" at the beginning, but now there are a lot of "you knows" in his speech. Can speak your mind when it comes to it. And I don't know. There's something respectful about that, but I'm curious. Is that how does that translate? You know, is that something? Is that's how you are like? You know, day to day. I don't know. I like learning about people. I don't like it when it's just about me. But it seems you're deep diving into me. But yeah, no, I wanted to ask you about that. Like you would normally day to day, you are. Are you just out there, you know, about situations, you know, kind of curious and different? I'm definitely physical when it comes to physical interaction. I've never been a physical person, so I don't apply. I'm not like you. Big hearing that you get beaten to a pulp. You interact this? Sorry, I like this in orange. Big hearing that you get beaten to a pulp and that you all those interactions. That's insane to me. I think it's a longevity thing where it comes to my parents never taught me any of that. The people in my school were people that would fight, but that was a very few of the people that I hang. But maybe this was kind of transcribed wrong, but it's saying maybe very few of the people with definitely hanged out with definitely not I am maybe I'm speaking weirdly. I'm definitely more of, you know, into computers, and my friends are into computers. We're into gaming, so were into gaming, so we're into gaming. I was definitely more so into gaming than they were, especially when I got older, and would they they one of my best friends, he got into skating, and so that so he was part of my life, but not really physical fighting, so that's not in my mind to go and beat up somebody. So is that something that I don't know, curious, did you learn that from the military? Is that something that that mindset, where did you pick that up from, or was that something that was a part of your life? Would you always, even when you were back when I don't know, sorry, would you always, even when you were back then, when I would know you, um when I would know you in, I don't know what year that would have been, maybe in 2020, 2021, 2020, would you be fighting people too? No, not at all. I have I know exactly how I developed that mindset that I have. I even remember when it happened, the first interaction, and I don't think I've represented myself. I represented myself really badly on the way you're explaining it. What? That's exactly how he told it to me. What? He said he would get beaten up, bloody to a pulp. I don't just get into fights. I would say that I just don't really back down from a conversation, and people get really upset about that, and I don't really care if something happens. I'm not afraid. It's not something I struggle with, but I guess it really comes back to the root of the origin of how it started. Would kind of give you a better understanding. There's this time in Marine Corps and in the military. I'm not in the Marine Corps. I'm in the army. I like it. I like that in green. My new self is the winner. Really, it's a Marine Corps bomb or something. I know that that was a historic beef between the two divisions. Would you call them divisions or whatever? Um, Probably you wouldn't call them divisions. That seems really wrong, just from my historical. But I know more Napoleonic era, and you definitely wouldn't use divisions to describe a complete different branch of the army. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, it's this term. It's a secret 12 general order. It's the whole joke thing, but it's generally how a lot of military, like personnel, kind of go around about their life. It's what the freak was it? It was like I'll guard my post from flank to flank, take no shit from any rank. It was something like that. I know it sounds so cringe, but I only just picked up on this now. So he says cringe a lot, where I'm just inquiring on what he's doing, not really super judging him based on what he chooses to do or what sounds weird or anything. But that's something he's super cognizant of. It sounds cringe, but if you don't know, he also uses this same word to describe his anime habits. I don't know if he did it in this conversation or a prior conversation, but he sort of described it as cringe and feminine, especially in the previous conversation that we had. But it was a really short conversation. Anyway, let me digress. But there's more to this. Yeah, so essentially it's kind of like I don't care at the end of the day. You could be any rank, any size. I don't give a crap. That's not that. It's not that I doesn't change what I believe in or who I am. I'm just not going to change it because you're bigger than me. That's not. I'm not going to like, let's pretend this is such a bad example, but I'm so tired. Let's pretend there's a chocolate ice cream, and yeah, I know people like chocolate ice cream, but I freaking stomp on them, okay? Like, so liking chocolate ice cream, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to stop liking chocolate ice cream because you stomp on people that like chocolate ice cream. I still like it, okay? So if you ask me what my favorite chocolate ice cream, like that's how it is at the end of the day. And like, I don't remember. I was really lost. I know what he's trying to say based on what you said, but I was really lost when the first time he said it. Thinking, what the fuck is he talking about? I was stomping on chocolate ice creams because it didn't seem to relate to what he first said, and still the 12 secret order of the army or whatever he was talking about seemed so it seems so distant from this chocolate ice cream example. So I was really confused as to what it was meant to mean in regarding to this 12 secret order joke, marine joke. And I get it now that he's saying, yeah, no matter if you make fun out of what I like, I'll still like it regardless of that fact. I don't care about somebody else's judgment on the things that I like. Fucking hilarious, by the way. That's hilarious. I think if I knew what he was saying in the moment, I wonder if I would have challenged that, because I was definitely being a lot more submissive than I normally would be in a conversation. With somebody this sneaky, because I was really not sure. I was letting him speak way more than I wanted to speak. When the conversation got to do with me, I didn't immediately try to jump off, but I jumped off pretty soon. You can see the paragraph describing about me. I really didn't delve into it because I'm not delving into myself with a guy I don't know. And a guy I don't trust. I don't even know the veracity of what he's telling me to be true. I'm just taking it at face value. I'm sorry, I'm taking it at a neutral value. This could be true and this could not be true. And let me go and assess that later on when you've now potentially contradicted what you said and therefore you are wrong. Or, oh wow, no, this seems like who you are. Anyway. I remember, so when I was going through training, there was multiple segments where we're trained into combatives at a beginner level and an advanced level, and advanced level is more specifically police operations. What the fuck? This guy's been rambling. Advanced level specifically the basic infantry understanding, and I was going through initial basic training with the army, that's a whole other story. I had to go through isn't what people normally have to go through. I guess that's the best way to put it. I had a basic training environment instead of 10 to 13 weeks. 10 for the army, 13 for the Marine Corps, all that, minus 22 weeks for a lot of people. They were like, oh yeah, those 10 weeks are this 10 like, and that sucked. I had to double that, it sucked because half of it was same intensity and half of the infantry free basic training that all the army gets, and half of it is police academy, so it stayed the same intensity the entire time. So which is really bad, yeah. When it comes to your peers in the military, I actually resent to the well, I was actually way more tapped in than I really thought I was. Because I really absolutely wasn't satisfied, because I'm talking about violence. And how it molded him to become so violent, because he presented a juxtaposition as who he was before was completely different as to who he is now. And let me see. Yeah, I re-asked the same question. When it comes to your peers, are they violent? Yes. Oh my god, they were getting therapy for it, and it's something that actively a lot of them they can't really receive therapy because therapists are really bad with dealing with them. One guy had this story. I remember hearing it. I'd be like, "Well, this guy is a little bit much." I remember he was talking to his therapist online, and he was explaining the issues. He was like, yeah, I know, just I struggle with violence, and I don't really remember how he described it, but she started yawning or something, and I just started yawning too. And he started screaming at her, and he was like, when I'm talking to you, you're not gonna yawn, all the stuff. And then she was like, yeah, it won't happen again. And like, I'm actually interested. If I yawn, it's just a part. He's like, well, I don't want to hear you yawn, but like she mute her mic, but he could still see her yawn, and he literally, and he literally, it happened twice or whatever, and went off on her, and then left, and then something happened, like he stopped paying for his therapy. And my word. Violent, combative. So there. So yeah, no. So you'll never therapy because little things like that. I guess never in therapy, maybe, like, so it's hard because you can develop these kinds of things. I don't know, anger issues, which I definitely got a fair share of them. I mean, I don't know, I'm very good at holding it in, but if something really near and dear, it's like, no, there is no holding back. And that's honestly, I do such a good job occupationally with that. I don't know, work life, I can separate it entirely. I've had people say the most crazy shit to me, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe you said that to me. This is one example. I had my ears blown out, and so I've been trouble hearing. Yeah, I'm really deaf, and I was on the job. And this one's not even the worst one, but it's just an example. And someone was like, this job, and I know what he's trying to say because I remember this. I was doing my job, and I'm next to a really loud machine, and this coworker walks up to me, and they say something, and I don't know what they said at all. And I was like, sorry, I can't hear you. I have a lot of trouble hearing, and they just went up on me. And they were like, I don't really understand why you can't hear me. I said that loud enough, and like, you should definitely be able to hear, and like, you get your ears checked or something. And I remember them going up on me, and like, yeah, my ears are blown out because of training. I was training to go like fight for you, like that was like crazy that you're going off about me. Let's be gentle. Let's everything stuff like okay. It's like I never would have told him this, but they just went off on me, and they then darted off, and I was like, what the heck? Why are they going off on me? Because I can't hear you well. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I struggle with hearing. Like, have just, I don't know, repeated it. Like, is it that bad? But like that side of the military, I would not take that. Oh, like that side of the military, I would not take that. Not military, sorry, out of work, I would not take it that way. But it's like, why are you going off on me? Very interesting to hear him talk, because it's very interesting when I talk to people. I don't tend to, just remember, this is really the first time I'm really getting to know him from what he's presenting me, and he's talking about situations, and I tend to avoid this. I don't really talk about situations. That's my particular MO, unless I can get into particular details, or I feel very correct on what I'm saying. I just don't. Presenting something that happened, it's sort of your own narrative to tell, your own custom narrative to tell. And so when he tells me this stuff, I don't care. There is no way I can determine the veracity of what's going on, but it's very interesting to see how they navigate these situations too. He's befuddled. No, he's not befuddled, but he's definitely perplexed as to what is happening. He's getting shouted at, and he's saying, you could have just repeated it, what the heck, what's going on? And I definitely would have gone off on them if I was not at work. It's good that he held it in, for sure. But the fact that it's very interesting that's the thing that goes through his head, because I'm thinking, if somebody's shouting at me, I have that happen a bit to me, where I get shouted at in person by people, and I could not really give a fuck to the extent of wanting to talk back. Justifying myself to random people is completely superfluous. It is nonsense. Unless I have to. Unless it's something that's relevant to me. Explaining yourself to people that are already indignant, it is completely worthless. It's a waste of time. And I can understand the way people feel immediately. At least I try to. You know, why would somebody be doing this? It's sort of the road rage thing, where people will explain a situation to you, and just the way they explain it to you, it shows you what thought process they're going through to determine why someone did something. It's so funny to see them completely perplexed as to what just as to why somebody did something, and it's completely from their perspective. Why would this guy cut me off? This guy fucking stupid. Does he? Man, the driving tests in this country are just not good enough, man. They're just completely not good enough. They shouldn't be driving in. Oh, all BMW drivers are just fucking stupid. They're fucking retarded. I know it has to be something about the BMW, and it's just, what the fuck is happening? Do you not possibly think of realistic cases as to why somebody would cut you off in traffic? Is this serious? Are we serious right now? So when somebody's shouting at him and he's sort of going, what the frick? Can they just repeat it? I just find it funny because I never, mulling over why someone did something. Maybe it's a co-worker, so it matters a little bit more, but I just don't find that to be a worth it exercise. It really isn't a worth it pursuit, because I was telling this to EXE, actually. I was telling this to EXE specifically, where I think it was to do with, it was yesterday, and I think it was regarding his girlfriend. And I was saying, I can't remember the specific scenario, so I'm not going to bring it up, but I don't think mulling over an irrational behavior, well, not irrational, but just, I guess I'll just call it irrational for a lack of a better term, because I think it encapsulates it decently, I guess. So doing an autopsy on an irrational action that is a person that you're not close to, I don't find that relevant at all. How can that improve the thing? The scenario, the conversation? Is it going to happen again? Usually when it's people that you don't know, those scenarios are not going to happen. And so it's a waste of time to mull over. That's why I don't really get angry at these situations. It's, wow, that was stupid. And then I move on. That's why I can't really see myself getting angry. But the fact that it's a constant, it's not, he's doing an autopsy with a random person. I think that's very telling. It's really telling. Why are you doing an autopsy with a random person that hasn't seen the situation? So I'm only hearing it from his perspective. So I can't verify any veracity of the thing. He's just telling me. I never even inquired about this specific scenario. I usually just speak in abstract. I don't need to. I don't need to do an autopsy of a specific situation. He's still hurting after that scenario. I don't know why I brought this up, but I find that funny. I find that really funny. Why are you doing an autopsy with somebody you don't know about a situation? And why is your inquiry so pathetic? Why is the inquiry so lame? It's so from your perspective, not from somebody else's perspective. I find that funny. I don't know. I just hate that. I do know. I just completely hate when somebody's doing an autopsy of a situation that's happened and I can't verify anything, so I have no advice for you because I don't believe what you're telling me. I immediately dismiss what somebody is telling me because how could I possibly know any of this? Especially when the autopsy that you're doing is so pathetic. How am I even meant to trust what you're presenting is true and not just doing a cold therapy session? Anyway, I want to go and get a drink, so let me finish this immediately. There's no reason to go for me. I can't hear because I've had crazy things. I've done crazy things in my life, and for all really good reasons you're going off on me because I can't hear. Like seriously, that's ridiculous. There's no reason behind that. But they did that, and I literally just got back to work after that and let it be. I don't know. I'm just really good at separate. Really or not, you can hold it in, I guess, but. The fact that you're doing an autopsy of this and you're just doing... You're not the main character. How could they say this to me? I did all these things. What the fuck? What are we talking about here? Are we seriously not able to do an autopsy of why another person would do a certain action? I did all these things. Why is this happening to me? What the fuck? I'm a fucking high round zombie player. What the I got 246 on Doris. What the fuck? Why you don't even know what I've been through? What the fuck? That's what he's doing. He's doing what is him serving in the army got to do with whatever the fuck? Sure, you can try and connect it. I serve for the country. Man, if you died in action, nobody would give a fuck. Just be real. Nobody would give a fuck. I say that not in terms of to put him down. I'm just saying that in terms of if he dies, or if he wasn't in the army. Let's just say that if he's not in the army, probably not going to make any difference. He's probably not this distinguished guy. You're probably a replaceable part of the system. So the fact that he's acting as if he is the alpha omega of the army, I did this, man. I did this. The fuck? You're not that guy. That's crazy ego from the new person who he really is. I'm glad I thought about that a little bit more now. Anyway. Right. I only really stay here for a few more minutes because I want to go and talk to EXE. He's not really in a good place. I don't want to vulture stuff. I mean divulge stuff. I just have to say, you getting vulnerable with me, I do appreciate that, because I won't lie, you coming back and everyone was, you have to understand that I wasn't really close to you at all. So I don't really even know your disposition on how you acted on the internet. So this is the first time I'm really hearing about it. And you shit talking. I saw you as somebody that was, somebody, someone that was, someone that was sort of nerdy. Well, I was really struggling to say that. I think I was gonna say meek, but then I stifled myself and I kept talking, and I didn't want to reveal the fact that I was looking for a word. I think that's exactly what happened here. Because I remember that, because I definitely remember meek. Meek is always the word that came to me when I describe him, but I tried to use one that was a little bit less judgmental. So I said nerdy. Someone sort of nerdy wanted to share his hobby, and I really think, and was really into JoJo's at the time, so that's how I viewed you. I never really had any sort of complex view of you, so the other people in here were definitely a lot more. You talked to them a lot more, you knew a lot more about them, and they knew a lot more about you and how you presented yourself. So hearing from people that they sort of had resentment to you over you leaving because you were sort of a big part of the friend group for them, and then you coming back and there's no confrontation or anything, it was really strange. Where is this, where was this heat that was towards this guy? And so I was really just suspicious of what they were saying and how they sort of what they presented to me. So why I'm asking you these questions is because, who are you? I actually don't know who you are. How come you left? I'm suspicious of all the suspicious of you off the bat. I wanna let that be known that I don't know who you are. I'm trying to figure who you are, and I truly don't. Yeah. Why am I talking like this? And because there is, from what my image of you, because I don't know anything about you prior, is resentment that was levied towards you from other people in here. So after let that be known, let the plan be known rather than go, oh yeah, it's just happy, jolly, I only have positive feelings towards you and everyone is happy. No, that was definitely not the case while you were done before you came back. Much of this, just one page left. Oh yeah, no, I will say one thing, I'm definitely not knowledgeable about all of this. I don't know anything because no one tells me anything, I guess. And I also guess not seeking knowledge, so figure of fact. So normally, I guess online people just gonna keep things to themselves, like it makes this distinction funny. Maybe they had resentment and won't say anything to me, but like people had resentment. I know they did, and that was, and I know the one individual that he was apparently talking. I don't know. He's talking crap, but heard he was getting major instigation or something. He was instigated like crazy. So I wonder if he's talking about me instigating frenzy. Apparently, it was really weird. I really don't trust what's going on. Actually, I've got a lot to say about this. I've got a lot to divulge from my perspective about what's happening here, but there is something really strange going on. And I felt something was really strange, and I really didn't know how to. I didn't really know how to piece it together, and I didn't want to reveal anything during that part, but it's all sort of started piecing to my mind. A lot of this is just off of what he said, so I have to assume what's being said and then cross examining it with how I know these people are acting around me. But there is a lot to be said here, and especially what EXE told me too in that call when we did a mini autopsy of this. Oh, there's a lot I actually have to say about this. Hold on. I'm back. But like people had resentment on the blah 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 blah. Instigate like crazy. I don't know. Like I haven't heard anyone have resentment, but I guess people honest, I don't know. I don't know. They just don't want to tell me something, which I mean, who cares? To be honest with me, I don't care. But no, you didn't tell me any of this. You don't have to say anything. I just didn't know that was a thing. And at all, to be honest, everyone kind of needs kind of just left me in the dark about That which I don't, I guess. Yeah, to me, that's weird. Because I have a lot of opinions. I have a lot of opinions on, when I say I have a lot of opinions on, when I just made that known that, yeah, what would you call it? I'm curious, you know? Why are you back? How come everyone is sort of, how come everyone is sort of, why is it all jolly jolly now? Why is nobody saying anything? Let the air be clear. Maybe they're just happy that you're back, and it's sort of one of those nostalgia things where their feelings of being left behind can, build resentment. So how come this guy? A sort of confusion. How come this guy left us? And that builds resentment, and then that dissipates. When that person is back, you don't know what to even confront, how to even confront that, because that would be uncomfortable to confront any sort of negative feelings, because that could push the person away. That has just come back to you, so that could be the reason why you know none of it is brought up. Any sort of is that person really back for real? Is it just sort of this fling that's happening where yeah, sort of in between a relationship. Funny, I didn't even remember saying this. This is the first thing I don't even remember saying. What the fuck? I didn't know I was being that direct. That's funny. They don't want to bring that up so they can, preserve the sort of status quo. Could be ephemeral, ephemeral. Sorry, I can't speak right now. But yeah, that was really fun talk. I definitely enjoyed talking to you, so I'm going to leave. That was fun. Yeah, I have a lot of opinions on this, and it was along the lines of what I just said in that last paragraph, which was there's something really strange going on. And with what EXE was telling me, I think a lot of people in Zoo are just people pleasers. That they don't say anything at all confrontational. They're a lot more confrontational to each other because they know each other. But to somebody that Ender is sort of on the out group. No matter what, Ender is on the out group. And even then, not really. I think there is just a lot of non-confrontational behavior I've seen in Zoo displayed by everyone. I think I am genuinely by far the most confrontational person. Everyone else is nowhere near as confrontational as me. And I think a lot of this is, I think I believe Ender when he truly is in the dark. From what he was saying before with this whole woman, his co-worker, did I assume they were a woman because they were nagging, or were they actually a woman? I don't know. I just pictured it as a woman telling him, and I have no idea if that was stated. Them telling him off, and he couldn't hear properly because he couldn't hear properly, and his whole sort of autopsy of that was, look what I did, look what I did. It was never, why would somebody do this or anything. It was not a serious attempt to really understand why someone did something. It was sort of a feel-good attempt. Oh, I did all this shit, why are you shouting at me, fucking cunt? That's what it felt like to me. And that could definitely be going on here, where he completely misunderstands the perspective. And I totally believe that, but there is also a lack of confrontation from Zoo. I think they're pusillanimous, and that's what they're acting like. They're acting like ravens. Ravens. And I said this every single time, and EXE did this. He absolutely did this. From what, and I want to do an autopsy on what he was saying, what the situation in the VC was more clearly, because from what I got, it was sort of a quick synopsis of, oh, sorry, I have something in my throat. There we go. It was a quick synopsis of, oh, he just apologized to me profusely, and it felt really sincere. I kind of treat EXE like a child sometimes, but just immediately it just felt really strange. whole interaction felt strange to me because this is something that I know that they have a resentment for. That's why I'm so antagonistic towards Ender, because he left what seemed to the other people in the server as a close relationship. So the fact that EXE never brought any of this up to Ender and just quickly accepted the apologies, that felt really wrong to me. That really did feel, that feels very wrong to me. Because you have all this resentment, then somebody comes back, and I know EXE isn't really talking to this guy, but the fact that he isn't even letting it be known, I think it's a really bad combination of somebody that sort of feels as though they're the main character versus people that are not being confrontational at all. I have no idea what's going on with Tricky's because I haven't really discussed it with him, but he's also being pusillanimous because the fact that nothing is being said, and I called him crazy for it too. He was just saying I'm not as confrontational. I remember he was saying he was not as confrontational as me, but I was really letting it be known that it's a crazy situation to me that nothing is being said. Nothing at all is being said about this. The fact that this guy's back and nothing is being said, nothing but me. I don't care for this. This is not something I care for. If this was somebody I knew more, I think the interaction would be a lot more. I'd be instigating a way more. Because you have to realize that these people are friends and I respect that. Even though I don't approve of this person, I respect other people's friendships and I will do my best to not completely destroy their own dynamic. Because that's not on me. That's not on me to baby you through life because I know better than you or I think I know better than you. That's your volition. That's your relationship. I'm not going to fuck that up for you. So I'm not instigating as much. But the lack of curiosity on the anime thing, this is a big part of the identity of this server. The fact that there is no curiosity on how do you guys view, how do you view us? What are we to you if you find anime cringeworthy? What do you view as us? What is our friendship? I just want to pull up the pull up this document. What do you miss about the friend group? I really want to. These should be questions that I think should have been asked, and the fact that they weren't, this is really disappointing to me. I think this is a really disappointing. I'm really disillusioned right now. I really truly am disillusioned. I know not everyone's going to be as confrontational as me, but you have to understand that this was something that people felt fairly strongly about. And this guy is not in many ways the same guy that he was before. And there's a rejection of a lot of the things he exhibited in the relationship. So what you have now is, what is this now? Is this this is a person that's trying to reject all the things that you enjoyed about him? What is this relationship? I'd be questioning that so much. What is this relationship? Why am I here? Why is he friends with me? I'm super disillusioned with everything that's happening right now. With the lack, and it needs to be held accountable. That's what needs to happen. Yeah. I want to ping everyone. What the fuck is Ender's account? Definitely not the Kaiji profile picture. What the time to go for all the keyboards. Aldo Pino. I'm joined in 5 minutes. 10. Wagwan.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, you sound different.
Do I?
100%. You switched the mic.
No?
Interesting.
What, does it sound worse or better?
Sounds better.
Fuck, I love my water. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Strange indeed. Did you see what Niraj sent?
What, the plugin thing or whatever?
What'd you say? Hold on, let me turn you up. I've got you really low. Speak.
Are you talking about in the group?
Yeah.
No, I thought it was for you, so I didn't really look into it. What is it?
Oh, it's a document with the whole conversation transcribed, and he's highlighted particular parts with different color codes indicating different things.
Oh, I see.
It was nice to go back through the conversation because the autopsy was definitely valuable for the next time I have a conversation with Endo.
Yeah, of course.
And also, that last part of the conversation, I found super interesting. I have so many opinions on it. Just a lot of things started connecting in my head, and I have to inquire a little bit more on what happened in the call. So you were invited into a call with Ender.
Huh?
You were invited into a call with Ender where he profusely apologized to you.
Oh, that group, yes. Yes.
What did you say?
I believe at the time I said, basically just no hard feelings. I don't think I really inquired as much as I wish I did.
Okay. Yeah. That's really interesting because I think there's two things happening and they're both playing off of each other. I really do think Ender is absolutely confused as to how much he really affected everyone because nobody is showing him any of that emotion.
100%. But I think I'm the only one that still harbors animosity. And I'm at fault for not admitting that to him at the time. Because I guess I kind of just looked past it. But yeah, I do think that out of everyone, I'm probably the only one that really holds good amount of animosity towards him.
Seems as though several people in here are completely done with it. Near Frenzy are completely disinterested.
Okay, but
From
I was thinking more in terms of me, Galactic, affirmed, Trickies.
this Galactic
But
cat.
yeah,
I
that's
don't
true.
know. I don't talk to that guy.
Well, I don't think so because he was the one that made the group with Ender that I was invited to,
Oh, okay.
and he hasn't added on Discord, so I'd assume they're good. But I'll start by saying, had a really good day today. Just a really good day all around. Because I had a night shift last night. I woke up. Maybe I don't know when I woke up. Maybe it was like 5-6 p.m. I definitely wanted to sleep a lot and was tired. And then I got up. And then after a bit, I spoke to Galactic. We had like a good call for like 2 hours, and we just caught up. There's a lot of stuff that he didn't know, and he was telling me about his trip. And then after that, I spoke to my brother on the phone. We had a really good conversation. He was like, "I'm sorry if I came off a bit harsh the other day. Probably said some things I didn't mean. Blah blah blah." I was like, "Yeah, no, you're all good. Like, I know your intentions are there and stuff. I don't agree with everything you said, but I respect that." So yeah, we just had a really good conversation. I was talking about stuff like I actually just told him everything with my relationship stuff. I told him everything. And he seemed quite proud of me that I was able to look for the positives in these situations and try and learn from them. He was telling me about his friend, and I've met this person. He's like, he's kind of like they knew him in high school, but back in high school, he was like, he was chill, but he was like, really, really small, really skinny, couldn't fight, would get pushed around. So they like took him under his wing, basically like protected him from, and like no one was, to fuck with that guy. So he's like, yeah, well, that guy, it's like, yeah, like he met some girl. She lived in Jamaica, actually, and he went over to Jamaica, and he spent time with her a while, like a year ago, and now he's just someone from Kenya that he felt like that he met online, and he's going over to Kenya to go and see her. So it's like, yeah, like that shit can definitely work. So I was talking about how much more commitment and you would need as a partner to maintain a long distance relationship. And he was like, yeah, I completely agree. And he was telling me about an experience that he had with one of his girlfriends that was similar to my situation, where like obviously that was like they were like local, but it was like the same thing that I was saying about being ghosted and shit. He was telling me about that experience, and yeah, no, it was just a really good conversation. Like, it ended really, really, just really fun conversation. I really enjoyed it. I'm just in a really good mood right now, to be honest. Something actually did happen, which like would probably be something that would like kill my mood, but I'm just feeling good. I don't really give a fuck. So I was in this Glaive Discord server, and that girl joined. I got added in there, but I was on the phone with him, so I checked it after the phone call, and I checked in there, and someone was like, "Oh yeah, isn't this your ex-girlfriend or something? They miss you." Obviously, just I guess they somehow knew who that was, and they were trolling. And then the girl was like, "Yeah, like I'm gonna excuse myself or something," and they left. So I left that server too.
I think most of us are playing this a little bit safer.
And like that would be the type of thing that would just really bother me. Like, I'd want to just move on. But I don't know. I really don't give a fuck. Like I'm feeling really good about this whole thing. Like I do not give a fuck about her right now. Like I'm over her completely.
This one's pretty nice.
I accept the fact that maybe she's just some of the things that she's been saying and been doing has been out of emotion, and she's not thinking straight, whatever. And as much as I still hope the best for that person, I don't want to fucking see them again. I don't want to ever see that name again. I don't want to talk to them ever again. I don't have any. There's no trust there anymore. If you're gonna go around and like shit talk me to your friends and share private DMs and talk about my insecurities, like, yeah. But I understand they're in a rough spot, so doesn't make it justify. It's not justified, but I mean, I get they're in a rough spot, so I'm not gonna hold them as some like horrible person. You know what I mean? I think I have a good thought. Like my thought process with this person is I think it's quite good at the moment.
Oh God, please fourth. Okay, nice. I'll take fourth. Hey, first time TTing that in this format here. How am I?
But yeah, I'm finishing work
anything top 6 or more. I'm
tomorrow,
okay with, so.
and then I'm gonna speak to I'm gonna speak to Willow.
So Dang, all three are 156, especially second and third.
I did have a
What,
conversation,
26 milliseconds?
like a short
Very close
conversation with
battle.
them last
Nice.
night.
Good luck.
I was actually telling her about the things that I seen that this Lucy person was doing, and she was saying like she's like it's really inconsiderate of them to do that, stuff like that. And yeah, it was a good conversation, but I'm just in a really good mood. I'm in a good mood right now. As you said to do, I did speak to Galactic about how to I guess how to approach the situation. You know, you said to speak to Niraj and Galactic for their point of view. And he said to me basically like, I showed him the original message that I typed out, and he was like, yeah, I do agree with what they're saying. I do think that you should probably be a little bit more straightforward, make sure that you're not being a bitch. That's what he's like. Yeah, I can see in that message you're just being a bitch. Like, you need to be a lot more straightforward. You need to be way more, not affirmative. Not affirmative. I think affirmative is the right word. But yeah, yeah, I'm in a good mood. Good day today. Really good day. I think things are like kind of turning around. I feel a lot better. I'm also eating food, which is good.
Dude,
One. Oh my.
dude, I don't, hold on, I gotta tell you this, dude. Hold on. I'm sorry, I know you guys were talking about something, but
Oh no, we're done.
probably.
Man, I didn't say
Yeah, but you
word,
didn't
bro.
even respond.
It's a fucking word, bro. I'm ready for a conversation. I'm ready. Oh, what were you talking about though? You didn't even elaborate. You came in here? Yeah, you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I don't know what you're talking about either.
Yeah, we don't know what you're talking about, Tricky. You didn't even tell us.
You talking to me?
Oh, I'm way too hot. You doing good?
You're alright.
Yeah.
Let's freaking go!
What did you have to tell us?
It's a good question.
It is a good question. What do you? I don't understand what's going on here. Am I being trolled? Like,
You got anything done today?
I'm in the middle of dealing with my banking account.
Oh yeah. What's that for?
Yeah. It's been messed up for a while. I don't know why. Just had problems with getting my card fixed. It keeps getting declined everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna fix it today.
I got a few things done. I'm finally getting on my grammar, so I'm clearing tabs. So I've been done. I've been actually getting
That's why
stuff
you're in
done.
BC with the XE.
Yeah, it's actually. Yeah, that is why. No, it's not. I was going to sleep and I just wanted to inquire on something. That's why I got. That's why I pinged a bunch of you guys. I don't know if you know, but me and End had a conversation.
Yeah, he told me.
Yeah, and Niraj had so many different thoughts. He sent me a whole document.
Oh wait, hold on. When did this happen? Was this a 30-minute conversation or like longer?
This was 40. This was about 47 minutes or something. I don't know. I got it. I have it on. You can just go on my parts broadcast. It was the short VOD before the 6-hour VOD.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we had a conversation. First of many, I hope to come. That I hope come, because I want to talk to that guy more. I'm very curious. Do you know what was said at all? I don't know if you've talked to Niraj or EXE or anyone about the conversation.
Why do they know about it?
because
sure
I have it on a VOD.
Because
So Niraj, apparently Niraj watches my stream sometimes. He went on my stream, and so he watched the VOD. And
Yeah.
he got me in VC, or I got him in VC because he was telling me that he wanted to talk about it, and he wrote this whole well, he didn't write a whole thing, but he transcribed what was said, because I didn't even really remember what was said in the conversation, but he thought a lot of the things were damning, particularly damning about what Ender was saying, and I read through that just before I got into VC now, and maybe I don't think it's as damning as what Niraj thought, but I thought a lot of the things in there were really weird. So Niraj just knows a lot more about the military than I do. So he was telling me some stuff because Ender was divulging on what he was doing in the military. I don't fucking know anything about the US military or even any UK military. So when he's telling me something, it's sort of somebody describing a 4D plane. I've never experienced a 4D plane, so you can. There is no way for me to conceptualize what's happening. I'll give you a better scenario, actually. You know, when you're talking to somebody and they're sort of really unhappy with a circumstance that happened, maybe an argument, but you never witnessed the argument, so there's no real way for you to start talking about, oh yeah, this is good, because you have no idea what the dynamic between the two people are, because you don't know the other person. So it's really hard for you to comment on it, because you're only getting presented one side of the story without knowing any of the prior interactions before this point. And it's sort of a similar case where I don't know anything about the military. So he was telling me some stuff, and it was so we're obviously talking about the anime stuff. That's immediately what I started off with. Felt really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the conversation, so I'm inquiring. Let me pull up the Zoltaro. He sent me something in Zoltaro. Zoltaro, sorry. So I immediately start off with the anime stuff, and I'm really curious as to how did it happen? How did it happen from his point of view? And I don't want to. I know you told me some stuff, potentially, with his girlfriend or whatever. I wanted to know from his mouth, how come he completely changed his opinion on that? I want to know it from his mouth, what he thinks of it and how it changed. Because I'm going to get the best representation from his own mouth, right? And I ask several questions in regards to this, because he starts telling me that anime is this over-sexualized thing. I think he said that before in a VC with you, maybe, because I think that's a yeah. So he said that to me. And
First, really.
yeah, and so I tell him. I tell him directly within 2 sentences. You obviously know that this is a direct transcription of what I said. You obviously know that anime isn't like that because you've seen anime. If I talk about my favorite anime, Monster, it's nothing like that. And you've seen Monster, right? You know it's not like that. So I directly say that. And his response was really just... You just got a really unsatisfying answer. This is what he said. He said, see, that's the thing. Yeah, I've seen these things. I know a little bit. So it's like directly transcribed. So the English isn't exactly perfect. I know a little bit about it, especially because recently I've started to remember some of those things as well. Like freakies and talking to, I guess it means trees, but it says freakies. I'm talking to like a firm. It says a firm, not a firm, a firm and everyone. And it sparked a lot of the memory, like one of those animes that I've started to remember a lot about kaiji. So it was really, really strange to me because it wasn't really a direct response to what I was saying. And the conversation sort of gets derailed just because I'm not going to... I don't want to be super... No, we need to stick on this point because I don't know this guy. And I don't want to start shit with him because he's not my friend. He's not my friend. He's your friend. And I don't want to put him in a scenario where I'm being so inflammatory or, making it an interrogation that he fucks up. or anything of the sort, or there's some tension. So I didn't want to do that. So I flowed with him, and we never really got to that point of anime, which is really unfortunate because I really want to resolve that conversation with anime, and it's sad that he really is one of those memory things where he's doing that. Oh, I don't really remember that well, but I don't know if I buy that. I really don't know if I buy that. The fact that I don't even really remember these things that well. Anime isn't over sexualized. That isn't something that it's something so evident that I refuse to believe that he completely forgot about that. That oh yeah, wait, anime isn't boobs and tits.
How would he remember? How would he even remember that it was in the first place? You know, it's obviously narrative he's came up with.
Hey, wait, I'm sorry, but I want to add this too because I'm really interested. So, Flo, you remember when Neeraj? Oh well, I guess he was saying something about like Ender was saying something about how he used to be like he used to pick fights with everyone or whatever, and he was.
I'm very curious about
Yeah,
this.
we need to inquire about this.
Tricky's-
Yeah.
Was he like that?
Like what?
So, TLDR, Ender is creating a dichotomy between his old self and his new self, and he's saying that his old self would instigate a lot of stuff, and he was saying that, you know, I didn't really have anything to my name. I don't know why I started stuff like that, and now I'm a lot more calmer. Was he somebody that started a lot of shit?
Oh no. He actually told me this was the only thing he told me about this conversation was that he told you he used to be a worse person or something.
Uh-huh.
He told me that about the conversation. That was the only thing he really brought up that I remember. But he said it was a pleasant conversation. He was like surprised. So that was the only other thing I remember him saying.
Mhm.
And then yeah, no, he was not like that at all, honestly.
Okay.
He was probably talking about himself from 2018, 2019, being around Yezi and all those people.
Mhm.
He's not really referring to Zoo era.
Because when I
He was
spoke to him,
pretty different in Zoo.
definitely not like that. He was not. I would have to ask Frenzy because he knows him in an environment outside of Zoo. I mean, I know him in an environment outside of Zoo because I didn't. My memories with him are not with you guys. It was you. I knew him from. I remember the first time I met Ender was when Yezi hosted Into Ender, and he was playing Neptunia. That's the first time I met Ender, and he was a meek motherfucker. Every time he was a meek motherfucker. When he spoke to me, he was a meek motherfucker. Very amicable, very friendly, personable. So the fact that he said he was like that, I don't know where he's getting that from. If he's trying to create a dichotomy between who he was, I couldn't possibly know this. But the fact that multiple people are saying that, oh yeah, he was meek. I think Frenzy would probably be the best person to ask about this. Now that all of you guys have said, oh no, he was meek. He was not somebody that was instigating stuff. So it makes me think, is he lying or is he just getting it from a different era? I don't know what he misremembering. Is he trying to exaggerate how much of an inferior person he was before? I don't know. I have no idea.
No, he's probably talking about hanging out with Yezi. Maybe. I don't know why he would refer to that era, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's totally different in your experience with Zoo. He was not like that at all. I mean, yeah, no, he was really easy to get along with, to be honest.
I know.
Like really easy.
Yeah, that's what
What
I
I'm
said.
saying.
That's what I said. It's
Even when I first
it
met
was
him, that was
easy.
my analysis because I even questioned that in the conversation. It was really strange to me that he would present himself as that sort of person. Who knows?
I think he views himself really negatively right now.
His past self for sure.
No, his now self even worse.
Really? Okay, that's not at all what I got from the conversation. Very different
Yeah,
vibe.
if you talk to him more, you might get that. You'll know what I mean. He definitely views himself really bad.
Mhm.
I don't know the full story of everything he did, but yeah, if I had to fill in blanks and guess, then I can't say I really blame him for thinking that, to be honest. But
Okay.
it's just based
You
on
know-
anything. I don't know any of the story, so.
Okay, completely different perspective than I do, because from what he was telling me, he seemed as though he was really proud of the situation. At least what he was willing to reveal to me, seemed really proud and happy. I wouldn't say happy,
That
but
is
proud.
really-
Definitely proud. Yeah, he was extolling himself to a degree that you would need to have a little bit of prick of self-awareness to go, okay, maybe I'm sucking myself off a little bit too much.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm
next
just
time we talk
reading.
about the anime thing and the sexualization or whatever,
What you
definitely be like, next time he brings that up about anime or whatever,
said? Uh-huh.
where he says the sexualization thing, you should be like, oh yeah, I was watching Tricky's stream the other day, because I was streaming when he said it.
Mhm.
We were playing Doors together. So you should be like,
Mhm.
yeah, I was watching his stream and I heard you say this. You remember what I was telling you about the other day? Whenever I said about the what sport was it? Rugby.
Yeah.
He was like
Oh
talking
yeah,
about
the rugby.
clip,
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
that
yeah.
up and be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but you're saying this, so why is that a problem? Wouldn't that be something you would like to see? That's what you should say, honestly.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to say as
I think that'd
well,
be kind of
like
funny.
I'm reading this transcript and I'm reading the part when he's talking when you mentioned Monster, with the sexualization things, and it looked like his response was like what he doesn't remember a lot about Monster, for example.
Remembers anything about anime?
Because if the reason that I mean, it looks like there's more to it maybe, and I'm unaware, but if the reason that he's giving you is because he feels like there's a lot of sexualization in anime, then you should just get him to, someone Tricky's, whatever, should just get him to watch something like Monster, where it lacks those things that he's trying to critique anime for. Unless there's other
I've been
things.
watching Legend of the Galactic Heroes because he
Yeah.
seems to really be into
Military.
military stuff.
Right. Is he watching it, or?
Why would he be at this juncture?
Oh, he's always right. Okay, well, wait. Sorry, did you say that you were trying to get him to, or you're going to?
I brought it up to him whenever
Uh-huh.
the first time we talked.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
What was his response?
He was saying about, I don't remember exactly directly what he said after I said about Legend of Galactic Heroes. I don't know if he really said anything, but he was like, I mean, I'd be willing to watch it if someone like shared screens or something. That's what he said.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And he doesn't have a computer
every
right
day,
now.
so,
right?
or whenever he gets home. So, no,
Right. What
he has
does
an
he have?
Xbox and
Okay.
a tablet and a phone.
Does he have interest? Is he speaking of buying a computer? Or not?
Yeah, actually, yesterday, he was saying he wish he could, but he doesn't have the money.
Okay. Yeah.
And yesterday he was like, seemed like even more interested in buying one. He really wants to play Counter-Strike, and he was telling me how much he loves that game still, and how bad he used to be at it, but he still loves it. But yeah, I was actually helping him like get price ranges together. He wants to try to buy one by July, I think.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, $2,000. I'm like, man, you don't need to spend that much at all, especially if you're playing older games. In games like
Yeah.
CS, like you don't really need that good of a computer.
Yeah. So here, this is something else I should probably mention, 'cause I don't think I've mentioned it to you. So whenever you first got me in that group with him, at that time, I was happy to see him. I was definitely like happy. And I always remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I'm pretty sure I remember being very, I wasn't interested in speaking to him again. At least like post him leaving and not being around, maybe like 2023, 2024, I wasn't interested in seeing him again. I just kind of seen it as like a betrayal that he just like used us and left after finding out that he'd done the same thing with Frenzy, or I think that Frenzy said that he'd done it before him as well, but I don't know about that. But I definitely have a change of heart now. I guess just talking to Fleur, he was pointing it out to me. I would want to. I'm very intrigued to understand the situation with him. I'd have to speak to him directly and ask my own questions. But what about you? So what? Yeah, I mean, you guys seem very good terms. How do you see it? Do you not? Does it not bother you that he did that? That he kind of just. It seems like he kind of just like used us at a time. Like he was just in this friend group for a while, and then it seemed like he just
You
found
said
something
used
else.
us?
Well, at
Yeah,
least it
why'd
seemed
you
What does
like
that
he was.
say
mean?
that? Why'd you
Well,
say
listen.
use?
It seemed like. Well,
Bro,
that's
no,
why I
I'm not
wanted to
gonna listen. I'm
elaborate
gonna
on it.
clarify. I'm gonna clarify
Yeah,
what
that's
you
why I
mean by
wanted
use.
to elaborate on it. That's what I was doing. I was saying it seemed like he was around and he enjoyed his time here, but the second that something else came that seemed more appealing to him, he kind of just left and didn't seem to speak to anyone. I know that I heard that he was speaking to people a little bit throughout 2022, but Galactic said he blocked him on Snapchat in like 2023, and he seemed to just cut contact with everyone. So, and he also did the same thing with me, by the way. I'm pretty sure he blocked me on Snapchat back then too. But it just seemed like the second that he found something new, i.e. a relationship,
What does that
he's
mean?
like,
No, he found something new. What
well,
was
his
new that he found?
relationship, as if he like begun to just
Something,
value that
something better
relationship
than
more
you.
than right,
No,
yeah,
but that's
something
not.
better than us.
That was never the point. You didn't understand his perspective at the time. He was very excited to talk to us. He was like, he had this huge plan where he was gonna get his PC moved into her house, and he was gonna have this like game room set up where you'd be able to talk to us every day while being in the relationship. He didn't leave us because of the because he found something better. It was because of the relationship that she told him he didn't want us hanging out with his
Yeah, and that was a
anime friends,
choice
quote
that
unquote.
he
Yeah, and that was
deliberately
a
made.
choice. Yeah, he made that choice to side with her and leave us behind and betray us, pretty much. He left
Yeah, but he
us to
didn't
be with
leave us
her.
because he found something better.
That's exactly
The
what
way
he
you
did.
worded
That's
it.
exactly yeah.
No, but the way
That's
you
what it
word
looks
that
like.
is like, oh yeah, I don't need these friends because I have other
Yeah,
friends.
exactly. That's exactly how I see it. He got something new that he clearly valued more than us, so he left us behind for years at a time. And now that he doesn't have that relationship anymore, conveniently he's back in the friend group. Now that he doesn't have the relationship that he left us for, right? Sure, I understand. Maybe it was like
It's
abusive or
because
manipulative or
of
something.
her. It's because
But
of
he
that.
still made
Yeah.
that choice. He still decided to side with her over be with her instead of us,
Well,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Because he knew what that
I
relationship
just the way you were
entailed.
wording that, I wanted to make sure you understood that he wanted to still talk to us at the same time. Didn't seem like you understood
That's
that.
yeah, sure, but it doesn't change that much for me because at the end of the day, he still decided, yeah, even though if I be in this relationship, I can't talk to my friends, I'm gonna just be in this relationship instead and not talk to my friends. And now the only reason he's talking to us again is because he's not in that relationship, right? It seems like he's kind of just came back
Yeah.
to us now that he doesn't have the relationship anymore because we're because now there's nothing keeping him from talking to us.
I I think he actually contacted me a few weeks before that happened, so
Okay,
I
when
don't
was
really
that?
know the timeline. I mean, this would have been when I was playing New Vegas, whenever he added me. So this was the start of April.
Oh, so like recently.
This was the start of April when he friended me, and I think the relationship ended a week later. So, I mean,
Okay.
Being in the dumps by
he
that
probably
point.
already knew.
Yeah, who
Yeah,
ended
that's
the
what I was gonna
relationship,
say. I was gonna say, yeah, I think they already knew. But I mean, he was telling me he wanted to contact us sooner, but just felt really bad about it. It's like how he thought we hated him and stuff.
No, I
But it
don't.
still doesn't
I don't
change
want to
what
be the.
happened.
I don't want to mull over words where when somebody makes an apology, they go, "Oh, I wish it could be different," but they never made any. But I do one of those things where action over words. You could have, if you wish it could have been different. It's very easy for you to go and contact the server and the people in the server. That's a very easy thing for you to do. So if you wish it would be different, how come you never made the decisions? Oh, well, we know why you didn't make the decisions. So I don't really buy that. Oh, I wish you could contact. I think that shows those are just words. Those are not actions. So, and all his actions so far have been absolutely disqualifying in terms of being somebody that stands true, stands proud, and stands on business. Absolutely hasn't stood on any sort of business.
Mhm.
I mean,
But in terms of what you were saying, back to the original question, do I hold a grudge against him for that? That's what you're asking?
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I never really did to begin with. maybe really early on. I was like, man, well, I mean, it was annoying whenever he would only come in when he needed to talk to us.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it seemed. Yeah,
But
because
it's not.
I just I mean, I'm just thinking like
But when he,
throughout the entire relationship, if he knew that, because I don't know, it's just like if my girlfriend comes up to me and says, right, you're not talking to your friends anymore, you got to cut them off if you want to be with me, she's getting cut off instantly. And honestly, it's going to be the same way around because I wouldn't respect that. I wouldn't respect a friend, a friend group coming to me or a partner and telling me it's me or making me choose between two people in this context of like, I get what, like, I don't know why did she do that? Because she thought that we were bad for him or something?
Not about
we were
you,
his anime
EXE.
friends. We
I
were his
said
anime
we.
friends, and
It's not about you,
that word had a
EXE.
really.
What do you mean it's not about me?
You do this thing where if I was in that situation, I wouldn't do that. Who the fuck cares about what you'd have done in that situation? Nothing to do with you. So weird.
I mean, fair enough. But I just wanted to
Let me
say how
tell
I
you
feel.
why. No, let me tell you why. Because you don't know. You're not him. You're you. So of course you would have done the things that you would have done because you're you. So you doing a thought experiment going, I wouldn't have done that. No fucking shit, you wouldn't have done that. Because you're you. He did that. I don't give a fuck about what you did. I know what you're trying to say though. If I'm really
And
trying
honestly,
to
sorry, I was gonna say, and honestly, it's stupid that you're saying that in hindsight. Anyway, you weren't the one that was actually posed with the dilemma
No, that's fair.
or the
No,
situation
that's
at
understandable.
his age and time. So yeah, I mean, you never really know what you'd actually do in that situation.
But what is weird to me is like, how long did he go without contacting any of you? Because he wasn't in contact with me. It was you guys. So how long did he go? I think you were the one that he mainly had contact with.
Wait, what
So
do you
when
mean
did he stop? When did he stop
with you
talking to you?
guys?
You, well, you specifically. When was
you're multiple people now, trickies.
up until eight? Well, I said that
Yeah,
as in a galactic and a firm, but I'm speaking
I
about
don't
you right
remember.
now.
I don't remember the. I think the last time we talked to him is when I was watching Master Keaton.
Master
When was
Keaton,
that?
yes.
I always connect timelines with like the anime I was watching at the time sometimes. So that's like the way I remembered that. So I think it was March of 1st, 2023
Right.
was the last time we talked to him. The last time he ever joined a call. At that point, he probably hadn't joined a call in like 6 months or 5 months or something. It'd probably been a while since we've seen him.
Right. It's just that. So 2 years. He went 2 years with
Basically.
zero contact to us. So I don't know. I mean, sure. I mean, I guess I'd have to understand more about how the relationship was. If it was a lot worse than I think it is. But that's just so
I
long
mean,
to go without reaching out. I mean, I understand that she didn't want that, but I feel like if he valued it enough, he could have maybe like done it behind her back or something. I don't know.
what?
Right. Well, what exactly happened? Did she
I mean, that's
force
gonna
him
end the
to delete?
relationship. I don't think that's a good idea to ever do that.
Yeah,
Doing
that's
anything behind
definitely not a
someone's
good
back. That
idea.
sounds.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah,
But
see, you're losing the plot.
I
It's
just don't agree
it's
with this.
no, you're just rambling now and you're just coming to weird conclusions. Your first point is absolutely just correct. It's just he chose a different life over you and cut contact. He chose that. Yeah, and you have to accept that. And you're completely right about that. From everything that's been presented to me, from talking to him, from Niraj's ruminations on the conversation, yeah, seems to me that he chose a different life. And at the end of the day, I don't care what dilemma is proposed onto you. You're choosing that. You're not a fucking retard. I don't care if your partner is abusive. That's on you. That's the situation that you put yourself into. That's for you to deal with. And that's I say we more in the royal we. We got dumped. We got dumped.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's maybe a 70% conviction. There is still more in the dark. That really seems. I don't think there's much that could change my mind on this. Much information that could change my mind on someone doing this. Because I've seen this happen before. I've been in friendships where people have completely switched up and changed.
Mm-hmm.
And started distancing themselves from the group. I've had this stuff happen to me. So I know how it plays. I know the excuses that get told. I know the people that fumble the bag, don't hold that friend accountable. It happens again. I've seen all of this. So to me, this is just a repeat of what's happening. I don't see anything that's different. It's men would sell, and Norris was completely right about this. Men would sell their souls for pussy. Absolutely,
yeah,
would
he said
sell
that,
their
yeah.
fucking souls for pussy. He's 100% right about that. Especially if you don't view yourself, if you view yourself as completely incapable of getting a woman, and a pussy just shows up, and that's your first time really delving into that. Yeah, I could see
Yeah,
how you.
yeah.
I could see completely how you'd sell everyone else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't care. Past transgressions, that's just building up who you are as a character. In my head, I'm just building up who he is as a character. It's, especially with the anime stuff too. It's just, to me, that's a link. The fact that he completely abandoned that aspect of himself. To me, that is just like Zoo, where he threw out Zoo, he threw out anime, he threw out all these cool tenets of who he is. I wouldn't even do that with zombies. I still, you hear me talking about BL1. I'm affectionate to that game. I remember exactly what that game is, the mechanics. But I still have, some I don't want to play it all the time like I did before. I'll go long periods of time without playing it, but I'll still talk about it. I won't go, what was that? I don't remember. Oof. No, I love that game. Truly, I love BL1. I think that game is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I never rejected that part of myself, even though I don't engage with it as much. What he did was a complete suppression of a pre-existing personality trait and threw that into the dumpster like Zoo. And to me, that's connected. To me, that is indicative of who he is as a character. And to me, it would make sense he left Zoo with how he dumped anime and how he's, don't even really remember that. It's kind of just, and making up caricatures about anime. That seems like a cope to stay away from anime. That's what it seems like to me.
So back to the original question again. The answer is no, not really at all.
Mhm.
I don't even see the point of holding that still. Like, why would I even want to do that? You know what I mean?
No, I
There's just no
understand,
point.
and for me, I guess the way I feel is, I am upset, and I feel like I am definitely upset still, because it did affect me. I think the once I realized that he was like genuinely gone, it definitely was upsetting, and it was like, wow, like this guy was kind of, because I was 14 at the time. I was 13 years old, 14 years old, and I looked up to him a bit. He was like, he just seemed like pretty well-rounded person. Like, he was quite funny, he was quite chill, he wasn't someone that would really like instigate much. He was quite neutral, and he
He's
seemed to just
funny.
he was
Yeah.
really easy to get along with. But he seemed like an older brother kind of figure. That's kind of how I seen him. Because he was the oldest in the group as well. So it seemed like
No,
he
he
was
wasn't.
the one that he wasn't the oldest.
Affirmed.
Oh, if I'm sorry, wasn't it really?
Ender was not that much older than us. At least
Right.
me.
Well, at least for me, he was still just way older than me. 4 years older or something. So
Mm.
seeing someone that's
Is he?
older than me.
You're 18. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
He's
that makes sense.
19.
Well,
So
I'm
you're
9.
19 now.
I'm 19.
19
So
now.
yeah, he must have been about 18 at the time.
He's 19.
So
And he's like 0.
okay,
Yeah,
19.
18. Yeah, 19.
Right. Yeah. So just seeing, I don't know. It really bothered me. So now that he's here again, I need to think. I mean, I don't wanna just write him off as this, like, this piece of shit that's just here because he's lost something, and now that he's lost that, he wants to come back to us, which he left us for to go. But what I'm trying to say is, I wanna give him a chance. I wanna have a genuine sit down conversation with him and be completely transparent about how I feel, and I wanna understand if this is the person that I remember being so interested in back then, that I liked so much.
He is
Um,
in some ways, and he's not in a lot of ways.
it
And
it's just
doing things
that.
with him, it feels like the
Sorry.
same person. But
Uh-huh.
when you get the same comedy style, like it feels like he just slotted right back in when we're playing these Roblox games.
Yeah, I
It just
mean,
feels like like we just
yeah, no,
got in a
because
time
when
machine.
I was in the
But
call with
the
him,
way there are things that are different, and it kind of sucks. But
Right. But when I was in the
Pretty
call with
bad,
him, I mean,
but-
he didn't sound any different. That the way that he spoke, it didn't seem much different. It really did kind of take me back a bit. It really did seem like this was the person I remembered. Um, but that kind of person that I remember him as is the type of person that I'd be interested in speaking to, especially if he'd wanted to get more involved with the group, with the server. So that's why I am interested in I guess giving him a chance and hearing him out and trying to understand.
I mean,
That's dope.
you do
We're
what you
talking
want.
about Ender.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yes.
I see. I didn't know who you were talking about there for a while. I was listening to the podcast.
The podcast.
Only I didn't, like I said, I didn't know who you're talking about. I don't really know a lot of the context here. Like just the little bit that I've been listening in the past 5 minutes. Only thing I
That's
would
the
say
rush.
to consider is
Oh, yeah, go on.
do what?
No, go on.
Is it sounds like he ended up in some kind of relationship, in real life and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And can you really blame somebody for prioritizing a real life relationship over internet relationships?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
100%.
Really?
Oh, 100%. Because
Can you
I mean,
explain? Explain
yeah,
why
because
do you hold that over somebody?
so this is the difference between prioritization and complete abandonment. And this is the first time I even heard stuff about blocking, where you block your previous friends on Snapchat. Is the fact that when you build friends, there is this weird thing online where your online friends are not your friends. I think if you talk to people enough and you've divulged enough information about them, you're close. You can say, oh, but they're online.
Sure.
And to an extent, that is true, because I
Yeah.
think having a physical intimacy with somebody, even a friend being next to my friend, it's just different. It is just a different thing. But I would never say, with all the conversations I've had with people on Discord, it would be weird for me to go, oh, there's something that I have now in real life that I really value. EXE, you can never speak to me again. When all the things that I've been through with him, all the games that I've played, all the joys that I've experienced, all the lows that I've been through with him, the fact for me to just completely cut him off in life and have no sort of connection to him and even block him and try to get him out forcefully out of my life, to me, that is the highest level of lack of integrity that you could ever hold. Ever. You never do that. You never do that. You have at least some contact. I always, from all my friends, even from back in Minecraft, even though we weren't that really close and they didn't really know that much about me, I made my Discord account in November, I think November 13th or 11th, 2015. I have all those friends still on Discord added.
How do you remember that?
7th of November 2015.
Right.
I
I remember
That's crazy. Do you remember that?
It was a clan called Imagination that we made. I remember the owner Zephyrus. He was saying, "Oh, we're the first Discord clan." I remember that because everyone used TeamSpeak back then, and I remember moving back to
Right.
TeamSpeak. And
Back.
nice, and I still have those same people on Discord, right? Now, if they message me, and sometimes we do, man, we type. I don't really type in DMs. I don't like typing DMs, but sometimes I'll type to these guys for an hour. I think a year back or something, I was in deep conversation with this one guy I used to play Minecraft with, and I always keep that at least a connection, a rope to
Sure.
who I was before. Even though I don't touch Minecraft. I stopped taking that game seriously in 2018. So it's been so many years since that point. But you can still contact me now. I wasn't really, and I was close to them at the time. We were spending a lot of time together. So I think at least I feel some obligation to give somewhat to myself. But in here, I think I've put more of myself in here than I have in most places on the internet. I think when somebody is, with EXE and the stuff that he's told me about himself, he's gotten so vulnerable with me. For me to cut him off, I wouldn't understand. I think EXE would have the right to be very confused that just me, I block him on
Sure.
Snapchat, I
Yeah.
stopped talking to him completely and utterly. To me, that's Fugazi. That's a Fugazi person. X. That's a fucking X. That's me. I have a picture of you. You know, you have the family photos. That's fucking ripped, and it will show that it's ripped. Fuck you. That's a big X. So when you say, could I really blame somebody? That's the.
So again, I don't have all the context. It
You
sounds
don't.
like Ender. It is Ender, right? Cut you
Ender,
off,
yes.
like cut everybody off, and just like
not me.
stop talking to everybody.
I was
Okay,
always in
well,
contact. No, I'm kidding.
okay, whatever. But like, did that? Sure. Like, could he have reached out? Yeah, he probably could have. It doesn't sound like he was in the best of relationships, just from the little bit
Well,
that
that's
I
his choice.
have heard. Sure, absolutely. But yeah, I would say, is it right to completely cut off all those people, and just not contact them back or anything like that? No, probably not. But at the same time, like, kind of understand, putting some priority on the people who are, in your real life, and making sure that they're your first priority rather than the people that you know on Discord.
Yeah,
regardless of
you can make them
how
your priority,
close
of course.
Mm,
how close
I
they
just
are.
That
I
makes
just
so
don't.
much sense,
I
though.
again, I didn't
Okay.
hear all this conversation, and
Right.
I just like I didn't know if you had considered some of this, right? So
okay. I
that's
want to
why
say
I popped in and like spoke up.
I understand that he might want to prioritize
No,
his
it's not
IRL
prioritized. No, I'm not
relationship.
even. No, that's not even a
No,
correct.
I
That's
don't
a
see.
Fugazi
I
interpretation.
don't
Yeah, well, so
see.
I
I don't
don't even
listen.
word it
Listen.
like
I'm
that's
saying
Fugazi.
hypothetically. I'm not saying that he prioritize. I don't see it like that. But I'm saying, if he were to prioritize his IRL relationship, then that would have been not completely abandoning everyone with no idea, like with no thought of ever coming back, and just pushing them away forever. But it would be, maybe like, okay, I'm going to start spending a lot less time in these groups and start focusing on my life and my relationship more, which would be completely understandable, and I'd never hold that against him. That's something that I would
That
never
makes
hold against
sense.
him. But
That
the
makes so much sense.
the way it affected me was, that really hurt me for him to do that. I don't know. It doesn't seem like anyone, the other people in here were as hurt as I was, but it definitely hurt me. So for him to do that, I feel like I have a personal, because it affected me so, so deeply. It's like, I just don't see it like that. I don't think it's fair that he did that, and I don't agree with it in general.
Mm.
You know, because I've, over the years I've been in long distance relationships, and more than one of them have ended in, subtle, ghosting, for maybe a week or a couple weeks, and then that leads up to just being blocked, and having no form of contact in whatsoever. And and to the point where I had no idea what I did wrong, if I did something wrong, if something happened, if they just moved on, and I know how bad that hurts. So I just, the way that he did that to me, and for someone to tell me, "Oh, but it's fine because you're an online relationship, you're his friend online, and this is his IRL relationship, so it's all right." I don't see it like that. I think that's not fair at all. It's ridiculous. Like, he made that decision himself.
Focus on yourself, but if you put a lot of your, here's the thing: if you're investing even no matter what medium you're doing it in, if you're investing a lot of your personhood into developing relationships are that takes two people. It takes two to tango in a relationship. So when you back out from that relationship, no matter if you did it on Discord, you still invested a lot of time, and because you invested a lot of time, that other person was investing a lot of time into you. If you just completely disengage and try and block them out of your life, and there isn't really a full understanding of what's happening. Nah, man. Ooh, that's the lack of integrity is, it shows on your wrist or your arm or whatever. I think it takes a lack of integrity to disengage completely from friendships that you've cultivated. No, just for context, I'm not friends with this guy, but I have been privy to EXE's discontent. So him coming back, I do have some feelings on this, of course, because that's, if one of my friends is upset about something, I'm gonna go, okay, there's probably something here. Let me analyze this. Let me talk to this person myself. Let me see, you know, what's happened and just try and figure them out. And I'm gonna be suspicious of the bat. And that's how I conduct myself. Oh, Niraj.
Nice, yeah, nice. I want to say that I was also just not approached about this. I knew, I knew why he didn't have his computer and he would speak to us in VC on his phone. I don't think I was ever told by him directly that he was kind of in, this relationship where his partner didn't approve.
You didn't know?
I knew, but I wasn't. He never told me this directly. It was just like I never
Something that he got from
knew.
you, probably.
So we
I
told
got it.
you.
Wait, you're so loud.
Andrew.
I'm
It's
just
something
saying
he
that
got from you. That's what he's trying to
he
say.
never took that responsibility, at least in terms of telling me about it. It was just, okay, I'm gonna block you on Snapchat, I'm gonna unfriend you on Discord, and I'm just not gonna talk to you.
What?
That's what happened, and he never said anything to me
That's
either.
not what
I
happened, bro.
that is what happened. What happened?
We knew about this for like 8 months, dude. What are you talking about?
I knew about like the.
Or actually,
I didn't
What?
know. I didn't know about him being in a position
what
where
did
his
EXE
relationship.
just say that was wrong? I don't understand. How could you possibly know if he got blocked on Snapchat and unfriended on Discord, and if he was told directly to his face by Ender himself? What about that is wrong?
because wait, so you're saying Ender?
Did that to EXE?
I'm just confused on what he's saying because the way I heard it, it sounded like EXE was saying Ender never told you.
Let me tell you what he said. He said he got blocked on Snapchat, he got unfriended on Discord, and he didn't hear it from his mouth. He heard it from you guys. That what was happening in the relationship.
Yeah,
That's
the part. That's the part that I don't understand. Is
Right,
him
yeah.
not hearing it from Ender's mouth?
I didn't. I'm very positive that the only reason that I knew that.
Why are you so sure about that?
Because I remember this. I remember it. I remember being told, because I remember there was
How
a
do you
time
remember
where
that?
I
But you
remember there was a time I was playing Skyrim on my PlayStation and I was VCing with affirmed Venoms in Galactic like every day for like 2 weeks, and Ender was a topic of conversation. And I was being told things by Galactic, because apparently Galactic was somehow speaking to him at the time about what was going on in the relationship, and I was completely unaware to it. Because he never told me. I never knew why Ender. All I remember was Ender saying something about a problem with a Wi-Fi card in his computer or something, and that's why he wasn't active. And then I also knew that he was in a relationship, but I didn't know that the relationship was how it was from Ender directly. So that's why I brought it up, because I just feel like there was no responsibility taken by him to tell me what was happening. It was just like I got thrown under the rug and I barely knew why.
How do you know that's not your fault? Because I'm pretty sure at the
Well, if he
time when
blocked
a lot of
you.
this was going on, you were out of the server. So I don't even.
Well, regardless if I was out of the server or not, I don't remember ever having a direct problem with Ender. So I should have been approached by Ender as his friend. It doesn't matter if I was in the Discord
he's
server or
probably
not.
saying, well, yeah, how would he get into contact with you? That's probably what he was saying that.
Because I had him on
Because
stuff
he.
before he blocked me.
Oh, that was before he blocked you? Oh, okay, fair enough.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the reason that when I got removed off stuff and like when he got contact with me was when he was just dealing with everyone. I'm guessing because his girlfriend found stuff.
I mean, to
and-
be fair, maybe he's expecting us to tell you. Like, I don't think he's really.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's like I should be
No, hold
approached
on.
directly
I
with his
can't
friends.
finish. Jesus, dude.
You should, yeah, you should.
I don't think he was that close to EXE ever.
I mean,
So
see how
I
you feel.
was trying to say.
But even then, like that, it still bothers me that I
You
was
can't
still
go
his-
around and tell one by one everybody and one by one in a call. You know what I mean?
Well, it doesn't even have to. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a
You could
call
shoot a
either,
text.
but
You could shoot a text telling people.
Yeah,
where,
yeah, like-
No, you're right
where
about
you're-
that for sure. But
right.
it's,
but-
you know,
I mean, I don't think that didn't happen. I definitely think he did that.
no. like, there's
At
no
least
way.
when we were still talking, yeah. I don't believe that. I don't believe he never
Well,
talked to you about
we
this at
would
all.
have to ask him because I can't access those messages, but we'd have to ask him directly.
Wait, why can't you?
It's on another account. That
Oh,
account got banned.
okay.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm quite sure that this is the case, and I guess we'd have to ask him directly. But operating under the assumption that
Wait,
this
why
is
would
what
you ask him
happened-
directly?
Because
This guy can't remember shit for shit.
yeah,
Now,
I
this
mean,
me
my
exceed. This is why I
memory
don't
is
believe him.
bad,
Like, I
and
just think
I-
you're
the
making
thing is,
that
dude,
up.
Like when I listened to that conversation with Flirt, now, context wise, I was blasted, but I was the person in originally when everyone was talking about him coming back. I don't know him. I just remember you guys talking about him leaving and how that sucked. Kind of dividing up Zoo when you talked to me into a pre-Ender and post-Ender era. Like that was like
Yeah.
the thing that defined Zoo's history. Like that, I'm like, okay, this is
Yeah.
important to them for sure. And then he comes back and I'm like, man, like I have a lot of friendships I wish I rekindled. Like that takes fucking balls to come back and like admit that you're wrong and be like, yo, I want to reconnect with this past version of myself. But what blew my mind was that when listening to him and Fleur talk, like you start asking the question, like, why would he want to be around people that are so close to this past self that he in the conversation describes as a loser? I mean, this is, your friend. He's talking about your friend. He's saying this guy was a loser. He couldn't do anything. He was alone. He was depressed. He hated everything. Life was terrible. I don't want to be like that ever again. If I had that thought process, and I have with friend groups, I don't talk to those people because part of me feeling that way was being around people who were like me in that way. So going back in this way, it's an interesting thing. And then pretending like you didn't remember anime that you talked
Wait.
for hours and hours about, you start wondering, like, is he like, what's actually going on here? What's his intention or goal for coming back here? Is it to rekindle something in the past? Or is he trying to make amends for something he feels bad about? And then kind of, hey, we don't share a lot of interests, kind of dip out, It's tough to say. And I feel like if you don't make it clear to him how much it hurt you, because I know it did. And because again, when we were doing the bets thing, like you've had the idea for if Ender comes back, but we were putting it like years. We were thinking like how many years until he comes back. And then we decided, nah, that's just so unrealistic. Because he's so sick, completely cut contact from us. He's so completely abandoned us that even speculating in a Discord like chat that he comes back, like that's almost too much hope, right? So when he comes back and you're not like telling him like, dude, like that fucking hurt. Like, don't do that again. Because I feel like if he does it again, it's gonna hurt you even more. It's gonna hurt you even more. It's like, yeah, he rejected your past self, but what if he ditches your new self and he doesn't feel bad about it?
Can I stop you?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say this a minute ago. You were talking about how he's reflecting on his past self in a bad way. I don't think that he was talking about himself from that era. I think he was talking about himself from an earlier era. But I don't know for sure. I could be wrong.
Yeah, Fleur was saying that I didn't know you that way. I knew you as like a guy with like nerdy interests and hobbies that I could talk anime with. And then he said, and you didn't think that guy was, and then he's like, and Fleur's like, I didn't think that guy was a loser at all. Responding to his characterization of his past self. And then Ender's like, really? You didn't think he was a loser? He was literally talking about the self that Fleur knew. Fleur said, I didn't see you as a loser. And he's like, how could you not? I was like such a loser. He like laughed at the idea that he wasn't. So he definitely saw himself as a loser. And he attributed a lot of that to his interests and hobbies. And he describes himself as having certain repercussions for liking anime, both in real life and, with girls. And that's fair for sure. But, you start wondering, you're like, well, then what is the purpose of coming back here to engage with people who care about that stuff a lot?
Oh, by
You
the
know,
way,
what's the purpose of that?
just for the date, this was late 2018 to really early 2019 that I was talking to him.
Yeah. And Fleur's like, I didn't think you were a loser back then. I thought you were like a cool, nice guy. And he's like, you didn't think I was a loser? He like immediately was like, that's crazy. I was of
Yeah, he
course a loser.
scoffed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he scoffed at that.
She's like, and I was like, what? I was like, that's so, because, and again, I'm like just sitting there laying in bed hearing this. And because I was so much on the side of like, dude, this guy's clearly trying to make himself more like his past self. Like, he clearly misses that. He misses his friends. He misses anime. He misses how he was. This seems more like he doesn't know who he is. He's in therapy, and his therapist said a good step for getting out there and getting to meet people would be reaching out to those old friends. I bet they miss you too. And that's easy. And even if they don't miss you, it's okay. But, you know, it's like a low risk way to get back out there after losing someone pretty significant in his life. He describes her as shaping him in all of the best ways that I am. Like, losing this person is major. It's like, we can't understand. Like, his life might be divided up into pre-girlfriend and post-girlfriend, straight up. Like, it might be, that
Yeah.
might be how he sees himself. So again, if he's just treating us like a therapy exercise to get better at reaching out and making amends, then that he's
I didn't
totally
know
able to
about
leave
that,
again,
but
you know? Oh, he says several times he's in therapy. He says, yeah, this is a therapy
he
problem.
told
Or like,
me that, but he didn't tell me that that was why he reached out.
oh, for sure. I'm not saying that's for sure. This is me speculating wildly at this point.
Okay, yeah,
I'm
I
saying,
was, yeah.
but just hear this out too. I didn't know he was in therapy. I just understood that based on what he was saying. And I've been to enough therapy to know that what therapists say is, let's take small steps. You know, you lost relationships and you feel like you can't meet people anymore. Let's take small steps. What about those friends you told me that you knew online? Like, that's exactly how they operate. They operate in like a, what if, you know, just 20 minutes a day kind of thing. Like, that's how they try to tell you. And so, you know, the fact that he loses this relationship, he gets into therapy, and then he starts reaching out, like, you know, again,
No, he was
you
in
know,
therapy before, is at least what he told me.
that makes sense. Probably was a tough
Like way
relationship.
before, actually. Like a long time before. He's not in therapy anymore. Right now, he's not. He doesn't have the money, so
Damn.
I don't know if
Because he
that's
probably wasn't
true, but
motivated to come back from therapy, for sure. But I do see this as, in
yeah, I think
general,
the therapy
worrying that he would
timeline.
leave. And then, no, I was just, again, that's why I wanted to throw it out there, because I'm wildly speculating to get more information.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but I was going to say though, like, I think that just make it clear to him that if he leaves again, there's not like a second, like if he just cuts contact, you can't, you know, that's, and then when I learned that Frenzy or other people have said he's done this in other friend groups before, like, that made me think, okay, I'm worried with how much trickies or firm people who are sweet people who want to have their friend back. I'm worried how it might hurt them if this guy dips again, which he's done in the past, and we don't know what he's going to do in the future necessarily. So just making it
Yeah,
known that
I
it's
mean,
important, you know, that he sticks around, or at least tells you, communicates with you, doesn't just dip, you know, the moment a girl shows interest. Like, that just seems essential for your sake, I think.
That's
no, you're
something I
100%
wish I
right.
mentioned
But
earlier.
that's what I told him, because whenever he first came back, I was very skeptical that he was going to get back with her very soon after this. And that seemed to be the root of why he wasn't talking to us to begin with.
And he seems
So
to miss it.
I did say, like, if you, it seems like you're gonna get back with her soon. Like, I said that straight up to him. I'm like, if that happens, make sure you tell her that we're his actual friends, and that we could be allowed to talk to them. And if he wasn't going to be able to do that, then yeah, I would be just done with him.
Good. No, that's
Mm.
really good. And it wouldn't be about you, right? It'd be about him and his inability to like maintain different worlds, because we're all different people to different people, right? Like, I'm far, if this is believable to you guys, I'm far nerdier in academic context than I am in online contexts, and more chill. But that, you know, we're all different people. But it seemed like he was really like, no, I'm either, you know, again, no internet friends, nothing. And I know a lot of people who are in relationships who have their internet friends still. The girlfriends understand that's an important part of who they were. They don't see it as like a threat to their attention. Like, you know, he needs to also not be getting with girls who like control who he knows. Like, that's, you know, for his sake.
I wanted
But
to
okay,
say,
no, but
because
what
you
really
did bring up.
what motivated me to be
Sorry.
interested in this at all to this level was when Fleur at the end was like, yeah, this really seemed to hurt a lot of my friends. Some people hold resentment. Other people's maybe are too afraid to say how much it hurt them because they don't want to lose you. And he was like, really? No one said that to me. I think one person said they were bothered by me leaving, and that was Near. But that guy was instigated from all sorts of angles, so it's tough to really say. And it's like, well, okay, let's say someone didn't tell you. You would assume that the person was saddened by you just leaving. And then I know from your conversation that he did apologize. He did. You said that when he was in a conversation with you, he just couldn't stop apologizing. But when Fleur asked him and said, hey, a lot of people were hurt, he's like, really? I haven't seen any of those people outside of Near. And it's like, that's weird. Why not go, oh yeah, Tricky.
I know why. I know why. It's because he's thinking now. I'm sure that's probably what it. Whenever he first came back, he thought people would still be hate him. I'm like, yeah, nobody really does. From my understanding, the only person that might is Near. So he took that as in we were never hurt. So that whenever he talked to Near later than like everybody else, basically. So maybe he started seeing it from a different angle, and Near was like, yeah, definitely did suck when you left. Maybe that's why he got confused.
Okay.
Because you're asking like a different question.
Well, no, but Fleur's saying like there's a lot of people who have struggled with you left that have mixed feelings about you coming back. Obviously, a lot of them are happy to see you, but there's also a fear of you leaving again, right? And again, his mind is like, well, no, I mean, really only Near was the main person. And maybe that's based off his conversation with you, but he also says at one point, and maybe they didn't want to tell me, and maybe I just didn't want to look. Right? He even says that himself. He's like, maybe they didn't want to tell me, and maybe I just didn't want to look. And so you start thinking, it's like, okay, yeah. And so it's like, well, why is he not just telling Fleur, like, yeah, me and Tricky's talked about this. I expressed how sorry I was for leaving. That's not something I'm planning on. Just like addressing it head on, being like, Fleur's like, hey, a lot of people are scared. These are my friends. They don't want to lose their friend again. And, I just want to make sure you're safe around the people that I care about. Why not just be like, dude, I've talked about it. I apologized a ton. I'll apologize more. I'm going to be here for the long term. Just take it head on. The thing he was doing, dude, he was winding, especially at 1x speed, winding through all sorts of unrelated stories to just all sorts of things, trying to like figure out what to say to Fleur. He was not taking head on the fact that he had hurt people. And he really distinguishes between online friends and real life. There's a very clear distinction. Very clear, very straightforward distinction. And for me, it's like, these are people. These are human, like I've been hurt by friends abandoning me online. Like I know it wasn't just an online thing. And most of my friends are both on and offline. Like my IRL friends are also Discord friends that I talk to, like that have their Discord. So like but like that distinction allows you to be like, well, these were just online friends, right? And it's like, no, they're more than online friends. They thought of you as more like an actual friend. You didn't treat them that way, and maybe you apologized, but you need to show in your behavior, like, I really learned from that, and that's going to influence how I act going forward. Because otherwise it's like, how do we know you learned? How do we know you're sorry? How do we know you're not just going to dip? So it's the lack of taking it head on. When Fleur's saying like a lot of people were hurt, he's like, man, I don't know, a lot. It's like, I didn't really notice that. No one really said anything to me. It's tough to, it's like, okay, regardless of how much evidence you had directly, just take it on. Be like, yeah, I said I was sorry. I will say it again. I'm going to stick around, Why not just taking that on? I feel like. And that made me I was like, what?
I want to say, just to add on.
Wait, what do you mean?
Right, I just want to quickly say.
What do you mean by how should he? Wait, no. How would he take it head on? Like, what do you mean by that?
Just say, I've apologized. I'm trying to make amends. I want to. If they feel scared of me leaving, I'm going to do everything I can to show that I'm here. I'm going to say things that would indicate like, yeah, no, their fear, that's valid. I get why they think that. I've done it to this friend group. I've done it to other friend groups. I won't do it. A lot of me has changed in the last 3 years. And part of that is me being more committed. He says that in other contexts, not in friendship, more in military, but like I'm more committed. I'm more willing to stick around, stick through the hardships. And, if anybody wants to talk to me about how it hurt them that I left, I'm open. I want to talk about that. That's part of it. He didn't embrace it. He was like, it's tough to say who really felt what. And it's like, what? Like, you should feel bad and willing to be open to criticism. But in that process, that's how you come back and cement yourself. Because otherwise, you're just dancing around the edges, not taking accountability. I feel like, you know.
I think he did whenever I first talked to him. He seemed to be taking like full accountability for it. But this conversation with Fleur maybe went differently because we're separated almost a month off now.
Yeah, that's what's strange to me too, because he sounded like that when you talked, and that's why I was like, oh, this guy's taking accountability, took balls to do this. I'm glad this is impressive to me. But then when he was downplaying it to Fleur, I'm like, how much of it really stuck? Like how much of it really stayed in his mind, how he hurt people? That's I think was obvious to me because.
And what was the thing about the online friends versus his real life friends? Because that's how he used to see it, but you're saying he still sees it like that, or did I misunderstand?
He describes a fundamental inability to know another person through the internet. He says not that you only know part of them or what you do on the internet, because Fleur's like, oh, well, the part of me I do on the internet, the who I am in the internet context, that's still me. That's an aspect of me. It's not the entire me, but you know me, right? He's like, no, there is an internet self that is distinctive from the offline self, and you will never be able to know a person just because you know them online. And I've gotten to know a lot of people through online. I know probably more about them than their coworkers, than all sorts of people who they meet in real life, right? So that's just wrong. And him saying that and disagreeing with Fleur, which Fleur's explanation, that actually, it's like, hey, kind of a shitty person online, but I've dealt with my offline stuff. I can be a better person online now. That would actually work with him, like trying to make amends. But his narrative of like, no, there's an offline and an online. These are different, and you could never know me if you only know me online, makes me worried he still views people as quote unquote online friends.
I mean, it depends. Yeah, I don't really. I would have to talk to him about that specifically because I don't know what he really means by not getting to know someone. Because there's certain things you would not know about someone if you don't know them in person. I definitely agree with that.
But then you
I think
know
everyone would to some degree.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That was no. So I clarify things and I make sure things are clarified, and so I ask questions and present examples. And
Adam,
I was saying, okay, there's no way I could know specific things about you, but there are specific circumstances where in different situations people will act in different ways, right? But that is still who they are.
That's who they are, yeah.
That's what I'm presenting. Yeah. If I know a friend called Adam and he's acting in a completely different way in a friend group versus on his own, he's acting a cunt in that friend group. That's still who he is. That's not him being a different person.
For sure, yeah. Okay.
So I clarified, this is what I'm talking about, that even though people are acting in a different way, you can still extrapolate a lot about their personality. Oh, they acted... Non-information is information. Oh, the fact that they're being really reserved, that's information about who somebody is. So I do know who you are based on who you are in a different environment. So I present that to him. It's funny because initially he says, yeah, I agree with you. But then he goes on to just contradict that and double down on the whole, on the whole, yeah, but you still don't know who I really am. He specifically and starkly says, you don't really know who I am. And I pinpoint on this and go, it seems as though he's really proud of what he's achieved. He's proud of these material things that he's changed in his life, right? But he doesn't necessarily care how he presents himself on the internet. That isn't something that he's cognizant of, even though I would go, oh yeah, that is who you are. The way that you're acting on the internet, that is absolutely indicative of your character, right? It seemed that he dismissed anything I said and reinforced his point, even though he said he agreed with me. It's really funny. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say after that was, I would totally say you wouldn't know someone in person either. There's a lot you could be around someone and still not. So that's kind of weird, for sure. I'm very suspect of that. He didn't say anything about that to me, so it seems like he does still hold that value.
On some level, but it's like, that's the thing. I think he's in a confused position right now, right? I think the confused position is, what does he do with his future? What is his life going to be? He seems like he's lost out on a lot of dreams and aspirations. He talked about being a firefighter, being, all sorts of stuff, like an EMT, got training, didn't full, and now he does a night vision job. Like, seems like a lot of things are up in the air. I think if you were to clarify with him just how real the emotions are, it's digital, but the emotions are real, the friendship is real, the conversation is real, the lives are real, right? That reality matters, and making it known that that's how you see it, all of a sudden it gets harder for him to see it as less important, right? Because someone he cares about sees this whole dynamic as valuable both on and offline, Like, it's up in the air whether he still holds that position. I think he does right now. But if you make it clear, the way you show up online, that's going to make me, and also, again, it's weird to say in the context of, well, we only know each other online. So again, it calls into question, like, are you not trying to come back and get to know your friends and see how they've been? Like, did you never really know them? Like, did you never, it's like, it's a very strange thing to hold while also seeking to rekindle an online friend group, So it's very, very strange. And yeah, again, when Fuller was telling me that he got like Ender into certain anime and Ender got him into certain anime, and then they're talking later and he's like, I don't even know what this monster is. It's like, maybe, right?
Yeah,
But it seems
that's
strange. It seems strange, and you know how much it impacts you. Everybody in the server's been impacted by anime. How would it be the case that he, like, I don't know, I don't even know
yeah.
what this
I've already
anime is like.
that was really weird to me whenever I found out about that too. And we already knew he was going on the trajectory of not liking anime because of his girlfriend.
Right.
The last time we talked to him, so we kind of knew he was going down that path anyway. So I kind of already knew that was going to be a thing. And when I first talked to him, brought it up to him, and yeah, it turned out it was true, and I was not very surprised at all. That was something I
Isn't
talked to him about, and I don't know. I think that is weird. I think what?
haven't you ever left a community and then looked back? Like, there are communities I've left, like especially in zombies, like in grief and stuff. Like, I look back on grief, I'm like, dude, I was a different person back then. I was a more toxic, immature person, all sorts of stuff. I kind of love that self. I kind of see problems in it, all sort. But I have like a deep like respect and understanding and care for those people in that. Like, I still, even though I'm not that anymore, I still retain an understanding and I value those people still. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like it said, he's like, no, that anime person, I don't even remember that. That never even happened. That
Mhm.
is distant from my mind. It's like, well, why don't you have like a respect or a maturity around who you used to be? Like
Yeah, that
that.
I don't get that either. And well, I do get it. I was actually one of the first conversations me and Fleur had was that I thought it was really weird that he was pushing anime down, and it seemed like he's kind of brainwashed himself into hating anime and his old self and stuff. I didn't talk to
Which
him as much
unfortunate.
about his old self, actually, but it was like the things that he was interested in. He seemed to really have a very big dislike of them.
And
And how much of
And
yeah, finish off. Oh, did you already finish?
me, I thought you were talking to Niraj. No, I mean I kind of did finish, but I think I was gonna say, yeah, I just re-say that he didn't talk about him disliking his past self. He never said anything about that to me.
Mhm.
So
Heavy resentment to his past self, and to me, already just connecting the dots. When it comes to his past self, if he resents his past self, and this is credit to Naraj for noticing this, if he resents his past self, why is he coming to his past self's friends that he made as his past self and the values that he. When you make friends, obviously you have a shared value system of, oh, shared hobbies. Hey, this is why we're friends. We converge on the same topics and the same values. If he resents his past self to the extent that he was displaying in our conversation, why is he coming back to his past friends that his past self made?
yeah, that's a interesting thing to think about, because at first I'm thinking I really thought he was talking about 2018, 2019 when he was with Yezi, that he disliked that person.
I
Um,
talked to that person.
I don't know. Right. So I didn't talk to that person. I talked to him in 2020, 2021. And I don't know if he specifically does have how much he dislikes that person. I'd have to talk to him about that. But you're still right in terms of interests, and this is something we already talked about. And I was gonna say this earlier, but he did tell me why he came back,
Oh, why?
Yeah.
and it was, yeah, he just said he was lonely, like really lonely. He doesn't have any friends. He doesn't get along with anyone IRL. So that was I think he said that was the reason he came back, or one of the reasons at least.
That makes total sense. That
Makes
that
total
seems
sense.
to.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
what I thought.
But like it's also like I have things I regret about my past self. I've grown since then, and I have friends that I don't talk to as much from then. But like I'm still that same person. There's like a continuity there. You know, I've grown and changed, and so have they. And you know, like we both have regrets about that and that's all totally normal. But it's more the like polar rejection, the complete like this is something that this category of person does, or going to this country would make you feminine, or you know, like anime is over sexualized. He's now become the person he probably was making fun of in 2020, who's like, damn, the people saying anime is over sexualized haven't seen, you know, Western culture,
Right,
like,
yeah.
you know, commercials. Like he's become the person he's made fun of in such a stark way, and now he's going back, and that new person is now coming back to the anime server. Like, I think if anything, it's like, okay, he can come back for sure if he's lonely, 100%. That's fair, but he got to understand that, you know, he had an impact that fucked up people, and he's coming back on your guys' terms. Like, hey, if you want to re-engage with who you guys are, that's fine. But don't come back and be like, hey, let's not talk about this anime stuff because I haven't seen it, right? Because it's like, well, wait a minute, you could.
He
see
didn't
it.
say he didn't say that we.
No, he didn't say that,
He
right?
said,
but I'm saying,
yeah.
don't let that happen, because you could have a situation where he's coming back and he's like, hey, like, I assumed you guys would have grown up. I assumed you guys would have gotten out of these hobbies. You didn't, and now I'm going to try to shift you away from that stuff. You know, talk about other things. You know, that's fine for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
But it's just not fair to come back and tell another person how they should be interested or relate to something. I just don't think that would be fair. And I hope he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Not that he has, but
no, he honestly, I think this is something really interesting. I didn't even really think about this until now, or I did, but I didn't think to talk about it. He actually started making jokes that we would make back then, inside jokes from anime, things that he started remembering. And he's like, oh yeah, that was so funny. I'll bring so up to him. So he seems to be rekindling with that in some way, where he's definitely fine with making jokes that he remembers from anime that we had together.
That's good.
Very frequently. So I think that's really good. Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say something else.
But like, don't you feel like if you're rejecting, like, do you see your past self as a loser? Like, do you see your past, like that period?
No, not at all.
You as like a loser or someone dysfunctional or someone to like, man, that person in all the, it's like, well, that's the kind of person who would be friends with a loser would be friends with another loser, like a person who shared all those interests that makes them a loser. Like, he's kind of calling your past self that too, a little bit, right? Like this.
Yeah.
It's like, that is a statement from
me now,
mind,
really, but
right? It wouldn't be
mean,
right, but it's like that's his current mind. Like, that's his current mindset to some extent of how he views the past. And it's like, okay, hopefully he can come to terms with himself. I think he needs to reassemble himself. I think there's a split, like literally, like there's a split situation going on. Not the movie, but just like there's a big, like just really contradictory things on both sides. He's obviously going through a lot, but you know, again, like that can't make you feel like your interests or hobbies are lesser, or that, you know, other people should feel ashamed for that, and really see him as kind of like, man, he got fucked up by the military and a girl. Like, a girl fucked him up at the same time as the military changed him completely, and that's real. You know?
No, he hasn't really tried to do anything like make us stop watching it or anything. If that was what you were saying, but
it's more passive than that. It's not active. It's more like he doesn't, you know, don't like, not like contributing, not like, you know, kind of engaging in the way you would with a topic you like, because you can show disinterest in a topic by just not engaging, and you know.
Yeah, so
like
when we first talked, whenever I was telling him, whenever he first called me, I was telling him, because he was saying about how anime, how bad it is or something. I'm like, oh well, no, because there's Munster, there's Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and I was like, man, yeah, I think you'd actually really like that show, because he seems to be really into military stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this is like a military setting. It's really cool. You definitely like it even now. And I was saying, yeah, you should definitely give it a try. See if you still don't like anime or whatever. And he said, yeah, I mean, like he said, if anyone wants to show me something, like they can share screen or something. Like I'd be down to watch.
Okay.
So I mean, that was a very, very first conversation. So
That's a good sign.
yeah,
That's positive.
and I think he was saying this to Fleur that he wouldn't go out of his way to do it, or maybe even to me too. But after talking to him more, I don't really blame him for that because he doesn't really have a way to do that. Really, he's only got his phone. He could do it on that, but he doesn't watch
Fine,
YouTube or
man.
anything either. So
Yeah.
yeah, what's up?
What's up, y'all?
I didn't even realize Stealth left. Yep,
Oh,
we were just talking about you.
who, me? Why?
Yeah,
Dude, I don't know you. I heard your conversation with Fleur and because and you don't know me, but I was just so surprised how a person who sees their past self as having so many flaws, so many problems, the behaviors and activities they participated in as being, that of a loser, would come back to a group which embodies those completely. And it seems like that was immediately surprising. I was like, damn, because the only things I know about Zoo historically were just how much it fucked with people when you left. Like when I was telling this to Trickies earlier, like he made it seem to me like there was a pre-ender time and a post-ender leaving time. You know what I mean? Like there was a time when you were here, and that's like the golden era almost, and then there was like the dark ages that took place after he left, and then like that to hear you returned, I was like, that's crazy. That must be he's gone through a lot, changed a lot, grown a lot, thought about this a lot, missed his friends a lot. But then he comes back and he's saying his friends' hobbies not interesting to him. His past self that was friends with that past self was bad in all sorts of ways. So that was surprised. I was like, damn, like this is it's very difficult to explain what this person's doing and why they're back. And I'm worried they're going to leave again.
Yeah, no, I don't plan on leaving or anything, but yeah, no, I don't agree with how I used to be, but everyone can do themselves. I don't care. At the end of the day, they're still my friends. I'm
For sure
passionate about being friends with everyone. I mean, I really regret not like I regret leaving. Like I left over like dumb reasons, and I was like, I really look back on that. I'm like, wow, that was a stupid decision on my part.
Leaving?
I regret leaving because in my opinion, when you make friends, friends are like forever. Like I hold my friends close. So when I left, I didn't really have a lot of friends. It was just me, and at the time it was with my girlfriend and everything. And I definitely regret disbanding certain groups, my friends, and I just felt like that probably, honestly, a lot of my friends, I bet you, they probably look at me a little bit different because I totally abandoned everyone. And I was like, dang, that's really messed up with me. And I look back at that and I really regret it.
Banger.
Yeah, I don't know. But
and
wait, heard everything? What?
Oh yeah. So like just
On the stream.
sometimes Fleur will stream conversations that he's having that he thinks are interesting on an alt account that almost no one knows about. Like less than one person. I happened to be awake at 4 a.m. I had or whatever it was. I was just listening to it, and another thing was surprised, and maybe you just didn't phrase it right. But another thing that was interesting was how when Fleur was like, "Man, a lot of people were really hurt by this," and something that you totally agree with. You were kind of like, "Man, like I don't know, no one's really said that to me. I maybe didn't look myself, and I just think having it known just how significant it was for you to leave is so important for everybody to feel like happy that you're back fully and not just like nervous that you're going to leave again. Because those are different things. Like being happy you're back and welcoming you back is so different than I hope he doesn't leave. I don't want to say anything that will make him leave,
Yeah. I don't mean this in any bad way. Like I actually want to get to know you, but I have no clue who you are. I'm not going to be
I know.
mean.
Well, no, I mean, you weren't here on the server to get to know me, right? So
Yeah, no, but yeah, no, it seems like you're definitely listening in.
I was, yes.
I'm yeah, Are you here a lot? Like, do you go-
Pretty frequently, yeah.
Okay,
Wait, you really
cool.
don't know Niraj?
Yeah, no, I've never met him.
Really?
He was before my
I
time.
might have. I don't know. I'm sorry if I forgot.
Well, in Zombies, you guys never met, really? Like, and did Niraj? I don't think you really played Among Us with us, but
Bro, this guy literally
that's
didn't
interesting.
remember like Yaka or like Frenzy like at first. Like,
Yeah, he would.
you really
He
think
would
he
have definitely
remembered
known
Niraj?
Niraj
That's
back then, at least.
crazy.
But
Do you remember Yaka?
Yeah.
You guys were so close. I only knew you as like or not you and you yeah you remember Yezi, right? Because you and Yezi were super close too, right?
Yeah, I met Yezi
Okay.
before I met.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you guys and you and Yezi being close. That's really all I knew about you before this.
That's
But
how I met you.
yeah.
Was a host that he did on your channel when you were playing Neptunio.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious. No, yeah, I knew Yezi from back when I used to play Xbox. He used to play
Halo?
Xbox too. No, well, he played Halo with me, but it wasn't during like that era. It was during it was when BO3 was fairly newer. I remember.
Oh.
That's Yezi. That's when we met. We
I
met
didn't
through
know
a guy
you were a
named.
Zombies player.
Yeah, but I wasn't very good. I would go for things, and well,
Was your name Ender Uwu?
Yeah.
Huh?
I think
That
that
was
was
a
one
name
of his
on
names.
the name on something.
I
Niraj
remember
was in
Enderex
Zoo
was
when Ender was here
Assassin.
too, but he
Uh,
didn't join much. I don't think you ever really joined at all. You might have typed every now and then, but and then you might have been. I don't even remember what happened. I think EXE wanted to kick you at some point, and I'm like, no, because he like there was a bunch of people that never joined, and like him and Galactic were so picky about who was in the server. They wanted it to be
Yeah.
mega private.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, you got to kick all these people in Niraj, like all these people. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't know. I like them. I don't really want to kick them.
who is
Really glad I
Dwarves?
didn't do that. But they also wanted me to kick like
EXE.
demons and stealth and basically everybody. I don't remember if stealth was in here at the time or not, but
Gorge Francis EXE.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, are you here? Like,
Crazy
Uh,
name.
he changed his name, I guess.
Crazy name.
But yeah, no, I'm down to talk more. I'm on break right now, so
Oh, type. Let's go.
I take long breaks though, so but yeah, so I'll be here for a while. No, that's cool though.
No, that's how I one thing I was surprised by was like because you seemed so interested in anime and more as like less confrontational but more just curious. Like, are there other things you've kind of gotten into since then? Like, do you read? Do you watch certain movies or just other things kind of similar to anime or like just storytelling mediums that you got into, or just have you not been looking at TV or movies or stuff like that since?
I haven't really been looking at any of that, to be honest. A few people, when I was in training, they recommended some movies to me. Some of them liked anime. Honestly, those were kind of the weirder one. I didn't really hang
Yeah.
around them. No offense to anyone that likes anime or anything. It's just that they were kind of odd. And the drill sergeants would make fun of them because they'd get sent like these books or like the manga, and they would look through it whenever they got sent this stuff in the mail, and it was like naked pictures of like women and stuff in these like in like the manga or whatever, and I'd be like, what the frick are you getting sent, dude? And
In the
they'd get,
machismo
like,
maximum.
they'd get destroyed because that
Oh, yeah.
stuff is so funny. But
Wait, so
no, I
the sergeant
like-
can just look through that stuff?
Yeah.
yeah, you have no rights
Exactly.
there.
Oh, wow, I didn't know it was... Okay.
Yeah.
It
You
makes
don't
sense.
have
You gotta-
any permission to do anything. Like you have to ask permission to speak, stuff like that. I mean, you have no permission to do anything there. So if you get like a book or something, which I don't know why they would get sent books because you don't have free time. So, but
Right.
if you got like a book or something, you could store it in your like little locker. And when we got to like the AIT portion, which was honestly not really AIT, that's supposed to be like your individual, like your advanced individual training. But for us, I went through OSIT, so it stayed the same intensity. So how I talked about free time a second ago, we still didn't have it. So normally, AIT, you have like all your rights. You live in these barracks and all this stuff. Like, and it's kind of like almost like a dorm room and stuff. That was not how it was for us. The same exact everything, same drill sergeant, same literally everything. So I mean, I I don't know how other people had free time to read. I didn't. I would just work
Did you
out.
do-
That was all I ever had time for.
Did you do Marine Corps or were you like Army or?
In the Army. Yeah, I was going for the Marine Corps at first, but I dislocated my
fine.
knee, so they didn't let me in.
Oh,
But
what?
yeah, I went through something called OSIT. You could look it up. It's I don't remember what the acronym was. I just we'd always refer to it as OSIT, but it's like basic training and your individual training mixed. So half of it was like that infantry basic training stuff. The other half was the police academy. So it was all the same intensity throughout. So it was 22 weeks of intensity, which mine was longer because I went during like the Christmas time. So your training gets prolonged a little bit during that because they did let us go home and stuff, but that honestly made it way worse. You would think it'd make it better, but it just made you kind of like, miss the freedom and being around people and stuff.
Oh, I bet,
Yeah.
especially around Christmas time. That would be brutal. Like,
Yeah, and having to come back.
oh my god.
It's terrible. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie, I lost track of what we were even talking about.
Just like
about
the
anime?
ways that your interests and your relationship with yourself has changed. Like how you
Yeah.
saw yourself to need to be a certain like macho way or kind of front to not be kind of gone after by the sergeants or other people around you. Kind of what I was getting.
But no, it led to that conversation because you were asking about like hobbies or something. I don't do anything like that though. I before I got my own like apartment and stuff, I liked going for hikes and I liked there's a lot of like where I am, there's tons of like cool trails and stuff. So I like that. I like fishing. I like I used to go to the range with some people. Wouldn't really even call them friends. And I went with my ex's dad. He likes shooting. That was fun.
Like sharpshooting?
Yeah, he'd bring his AR-15 and that was really
Nice.
similar to before. So I mean, it's like the exact same thing. Disassembly's the same. Everything's the same. The only thing that maybe not is your sight post maybe, but even that's pretty similar. I don't know, but and it didn't have auto, so yeah, obviously it doesn't. But
Right. Yeah.
I have a question for Ender.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about this. When and why did you stop watching anime? Like, why do you think you stopped watching it?
I know why I stopped watching it. That's on a way more personal topic. But when I did was I think I was actually still talking to you guys.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I stopped watching anime and I started slowly getting away from it. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna mess with anime anymore because, well, I guess that personal reason I was referring to. But yeah.
Yeah.
After that point, I went months without anything related to it.
Do you think that personal reason is as stupid as the reason you stopped talking to us?
No.
Okay.
I definitely think that I needed to stop.
Stop engaging the thing that you
Was
really
that-
like.
I don't really think I liked it as much as I was letting on. I kind of
That's interesting.
I did some bad things at the time. Like I said, it's kind of a personal thing. So
Didn't you collect figurines though? Is that
a
that
bunch of
seems like
stuff.
you're really into it? So it
I had a-
perplexes me
Yeah.
when you say you're not really that into it.
$1,000, right?
Yeah, no, I realized later on that no, I was into it definitely for I would say the wrong reasons is a better way to put it for sure.
Okay.
But I had my stepfather sell that stuff. Apparently, he could have got a lot more money for it, but he ended up getting like $5,000 for all that stuff, which was crazy to think that was worth that much.
Mm-hmm.
COVID inflation.
When you say the wrong reasons, what do you mean by that?
Kind of the personal aspect that I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't mess with it really at all, but I don't care if other people do though.
Are you sure that it's anime? Because I don't know why that could be such a bad thing to you. Maybe something linked to it. Like
that's what I'm trying
maybe.
to say. It's not. I don't like I said, it's not a bad thing necessarily. I mean, I already explained people can watch it, do whatever they want. It's not a big deal to me. It's not something I do anymore. That's the reason.
So
The reasoning behind why, I don't know, a lot of like kind of what was holding me back definitely had a lot to do with my personal enjoyment behind anime, which was an issue for me personally.
Valid.
Okay.
So you think that movies and like TV as a whole is also something you don't want to mess with, or
I don't a lot of TV. I same reason that video games I used to view as like a big like waste of time. I view TV as well. Now I will be honest, I've started to get back into video games, and I'm starting to change kind of a little bit of my mindset. So I could see movies falling behind it, right? I mean, it definitely could happen. It's not current, right? But could happen. You know, I'm not saying it's out of the picture. I'm not even saying anime is out of the picture. I just personally don't have any interest, and I'm not trying to, if you don't have interest,
Curious
you know.
question. So you had this mindset, or may still harbor some of these views, where you said gaming and anime are a waste of time. Am I getting that correct?
I used to view it like that. That's what I was saying. I like now
Uh-huh.
gaming. So I mean, it's not really a waste of time if I enjoy it, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
things are more
Yeah.
up in the air
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
But yeah, I used to not enjoy it. Like, when I picked up a video game, I was like, wow, this is not really worth my time. I could be just doing something else. But now I actually kind of enjoy it. I played a few new games, and it's been pretty fun. I enjoy it at least.
What'd you play?
I've been playing a Roblox game. I've actually been having so much fun with it. I know it sounds so stupid, but I don't know. I've been enjoying
I'm not
it.
judging you.
Massive game. Massive game, yeah.
Doors.
Yep, that's what it is. I've been loving that game.
It doesn't even feel like a Roblox game.
Like that. There's been like multiple days I've skipped out on the gym because I was playing Doors. I'm like, this is starting to become an issue. But I have.
I feel the same way, bro. Like I
Would you-
skipped on the gym for quite a while because some stupid video game came out.
Because the fake collab with Mahjong, whatever, Mahjong Soul or whatever.
Nah, it was whenever the Death Note game came out, like that, like Among Us type shit.
Oh, dude, that era was so cool. Back in November. I kind of wish I got in on the Death Note thing more, but Frenzy bought it for Galactic for some reason instead of me. Like what? Like the ultimate flaker, he bought him the game, and like, come on.
Yeah, and then he refunded it too, but like, yeah, Yaka created like a whole server for it. And there's like a few
And you
people
guys still use that?
that played it. Yeah,
You
that's
guys
like
still use that
the
shit,
spot, bro.
I remember for months, everybody was in there for all day. There would be someone in the call at least, multiple people. Usually Frenzy and Blue, and you and Yaka.
And like
But
Calamity
I don't
and
know.
stuff. But yeah,
I think like self-discipline, self-control, putting up boundaries, very important, especially if you're struggling with impulsivity and like the ability to structure your time and day. Like hard boundaries, putting it up in your head, like that's something I can't do. That's something I need to stay away from. Very valid. Yeah, it was just so interesting because that same mindset would also be like, well, I can't go back to that friend group, right? So I was just so curious, like what kind of changed. And yeah, it sounds like you're going through a lot of growth, kind of change, kind of reconsidering your priorities. So yeah, as long as these aren't like just internet friends you could throw away, that's really all that I was kind of worried about because definitely.
Everyone actually, I'm trying to get everyone to Virginia here soon. I'm trying to get trickies and
yeah. Oh, I didn't actually tell you.
Yeah.
I'll talk about this later, actually. But
okay.
Galactic flaked basically. So.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Which was actually a really good decision on his part.
Wait, what?
No, it wasn't. But
yeah, absolutely. Well, from what he told me, yeah, I completely understand why he did
What did
that.
he tell you?
He said the reason that he said no was because I think it was due to some complications that he might see around that time, and he doesn't see himself committing to going. So he thought, I may as well cancel now because if I say I'm gonna go and I end up canceling,
that's not what happened.
Well, I don't think he would have lied. What do you mean that's not what happened?
No, well, no, I'm not saying he's wrong for saying that. I'm saying 2 months ago we were playing in this actually, and he bought plane tickets to go back to another spot at this time frame that we said we would do it, the meetup at. So what he really
Wait, what
means
are
is
you
that
guys
he would
doing?
rather we were talking about a Zoom meetup. I think I told you about it maybe a few months ago. I don't even remember if I did, but we've been talking about this for like over a year now. I definitely would have told you about it at some point, but anyway, me and Galactic were actually getting it set in stone a few months ago, back in March, I think, or maybe late February. And the time frame was going to be July to August-ish, like around there. And he ended up getting back from another trip recently, and he bought plane tickets to go back there in the time frame we made. So what he really did was not. There's no complications he sees. It's that he wants to go back to this other place instead of meeting with us.
Okay. Well, yeah, he didn't say that to me, but also, I mean, that makes sense too. That's understandable.
Oh yeah, he totally. Yeah, that's totally what it is.
It's
But
whatever. Honestly, like as long as we all get to meet up, like I mean, Galactic, maybe
well,
not.
we probably can't now. I mean,
Why not?
Well,
What?
you
Why-
guys could still go. You guys could still meet up.
well, it
go
would
to
just be me, you, and Affirmed, and like you wouldn't be able to really do much, because you
I mean,
would
I
be
got
at work all the time. So if we met up with just us three, that's like I don't even know what we would do.
Would you not want to
go
meet with
It would
somewhere.
really
I'll do
just
the
turn in.
meetup in LA.
If Nier does it, maybe we could do it. But
Oh gosh.
I
I'll
don't want
only
to just
do
go
it if
out
it's
with.
in LA because
That's
I'm
too far
spending
from
money on other
everybody.
things.
That's the opposite.
Right? Yeah, and yeah. So there's no way we can do that. I'm super far from LA. Affirmed's on the complete other side of the country. There's just no way
Well, me and
unless
Affirm
you.
talking about it a lot more, and we're even setting up dates and everything. I got everything approved and everything for the
go.
dates that I was you about Trickies. So I mean,
Well,
if you
I don't know
still
if
want,
I'll be able to do those dates if they're September.
yeah, I mean it's right. It's right at the start of September, barely even beginning of
Yeah,
September.
it's gonna be tight. Honestly, I'll have to because I'm gonna be leaving around like the 9th or 10th, basically.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
gotta make
No,
sure I have everything in order before I go. Um,
I guess you wouldn't really
I
want to
just
go for that. I could understand that. That makes sense. But yeah, no, it probably just
yeah
end up. But that's okay. Not a big deal. I mean,
yeah because I'm gonna be wanting to spend my final week here. I'm gonna be gone for a while, so
yeah.
um. I'm gonna be packing and shit, and I don't want to get back from a trip and then come to a long trip. It'd just be weird, and
Oh,
it'd
no,
be
Rob.
tight. Like
Wait, when are you leaving for Japan?
the 9th, I'm gonna be taking the
Ninth
flight
of
then
what?
September,
Right, okay.
and the only time frame Ender can do is August, late, like very late, like basically the end of August and then the start of September. So it would almost bleed into that.
But yeah. Oh yeah, Niraj. That
Yep.
the one you sent was for an infantry OSIT. Mine would be under a military police OSIT.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Which it should only say 19 weeks, but like I said, because I did the holiday one, it was 22 for me personally.
That's so intense, though.
Which wait, what?
That's so intense, though. Like, that's so much more than people expect from basic training or just generalized training. That's like a full transformation.
For sure. They actually, I think a Business Insider video was just made about it. It really didn't do the trick, to be honest. Like they missed out on half the things, and the training really wasn't. They focused on like the wrong things because I'm under the 31 Bravo category, and they went over 31 Alpha for some reason. I don't understand personally, but they were talking police, so I guess they got the wrong info. But it's funny because I did see some familiar faces in that, and I was like, wow, it's really funny. But yeah, no, I don't really know who they were following because that's not fully what you do there. But
What do you think about those videos generally? Like the videos where it's like, we're gonna show the recruits going into the shed and doing the tear gas, like kind of the because I feel like it's like really it's the day in and day outness of it. It's not the moment you do the tear gas or the moment. It's like it's the constant every day around people and doing new things and staying on time and keeping everything organized and keeping everything clean and dealing with all the personalities. Like, do you think those videos capture basic training or just training in general well? I think they don't do it justice.
I think like you're really well informed, to be honest. But no, I think it's really interesting that you say that, because that's something I harp on a lot. Like when I try to explain things to people, because like you have to realize, like before they had the CS gas, like before any of that happened, right? They were in the morning, like that's during red phase, right? So that means that most likely someone messed up on fire guard. They got smoked at least 3 times during the night. They maybe got 2 hours of actual sleep.
Yeah.
Like they had PT in the morning. They got probably smoked. They probably had some type of big PT session. And then on top of it, with me personally, I don't know if other companies did this. Like, I don't know if other places in the Army do this, right? But I had to march all the way there, and that was like probably like a 4 march as well. And then on top of it, we didn't have cadence yet, which that's kind of a big deal because it kind of gets your mind off of just marching. But we didn't have anything, so we went over and then essentially we're in line to get gassed, and I'm like, what the frick? And at first they kept on hyping up this idea that people were immune. Like they were like, yeah, some people are just immune to this. Like they could just. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, and so when I went in there, I was like, maybe I'm immune. So like, I know it's so stupid, but like, I mean, your mind runs there. But you go in there and they're like, oh yeah, like test out your equipment, and I'm like, okay, I'm testing it out, and like the gas is going. I'm like, I don't even believe the gas is going because I can't breathe anything in. I guess my equipment must be amazing. And sure enough, it really was amazing. So like I'm like playing around with it a little bit. Like they're telling me like breathe in with like the middle one, breathe out with the right ones, and hold your hands on them and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm doing it. And then they were like, open the seals. So like open like the sides of the mask. And I was like, okay. So I brought it in, like gas in, right? It was able to come into my mask, and I didn't feel anything. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm immune. I was like, dude, I really am immune. So like I started like I cleared the mask and everything. I was like, this is gonna be great. I'm immune and it's not that bad. They're like, okay, so take off your mask. And I was like, okay, here we go. I'm immune, so it don't matter. I like taking a big breath, being all confident, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm not immune.
Every cell in my body's on fire at the same time. Like, it's
It
all
was
on fire.
so bad. I wasn't expecting it to be as bad as it was, and that's only my first time doing it. So like, what happened was like I breathe in, and I like go to breathe out, right? And I'm like, okay. So the next breath in, I'm like, oh wait, I can't breathe anymore. And I'm like, wait, I'm not able to breathe. And then I try to get more air, right? But every time you do, it's like spikes in your throat. Like it's like the people describe it as a spicy gas, and it's like you're like hyperventilating, but you just keep on hurting yourself because you're trying to get air, but you're not able to get air. You're not getting anything. So it's like, oh my gosh. And then it starts to go through your nose, and you just notice liquids just coming down your face, and it's like, what the frick? I can't breathe. Get me out of here. I'm gonna die. So then they finally open the doors. They're like, go, go, go. And I swear I was gonna die. Like I was like, holy crap. Like I only got a few seconds left to live. Like they better get me out of this. I eventually got out of it, and even when you get outside of it, the gas is still so much in your system that you still can't breathe. Even when you leave, and like all the snot's coming out, and they're like, wave your arms, and I'm like, okay. So I tried waving my arms, nothing's helping. I just cannot breathe, and we're doing like circles around this like dumb mulch little place, and they're like, you better like just keep waving your arms. I look behind me, and this guy's full of blood. I'm like, what the frick happened to him? Like I guess he just had a bad reaction to the gas or something. Like he said he was gonna eat it too. Like it's this guy, his idiot named him Rio. But like yeah, no, like I see his entire face is full of blood. I'm like, oh my gosh, is my face like that? And like, no, it's not. But like I am just pouring juices I didn't even know I had. And like it was just horrible, and I wasn't able to breathe for a while. But that's not even close to OC. That's not even close. That doesn't even touch OC spray.
That's crazy to think about.
Like that's not even in the same quadrant as OC. OC is the worst thing in the world.
Is that like what they make bear mace out of? is that what they make bear mace out of, or is that like a separate? Like, what's OC? Like, I don't.
Yeah, no, your OC, like your pepper spray, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
That's,
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. It's like the mace. Like.
yeah. So that stuff, it's like they'll have you close your eyes, and that stuff is like just spraying on your eyes, and you go to open, and you're not able to see for the next 5 days. Like it's like, ow, it is
I feel it
terrible.
like stays on your clothes and stuff too. Like it stays like
Yeah.
it's just everywhere. It's like tough to scrub off and like.
I don't know how you know this stuff, but yeah, it is. It's like when you take like a shower, it's not like unless you scrub super extra good, you still got it on you. You're gonna have it on you for the next few days. It's not coming off. Like it's like terrible, and you're gonna feel the effects. You can barely open your eyes for this next few days, and that's just how bad it is. It's terrible.
Did you have to do extra as a secure, like a police officer / security guard, like where you're, like like you get tased as well because that's like one of your tools, or is that not so much?
So it depends on where you're located. So it depends on the local SOP and everything. So, like for example, if you go to South Korea, they carry what is it? Tasers, I think, something like that. There's like certain places they don't carry things, so you don't have to get tased.
Sure.
It's not a party, right? But like for example, I'm about to go to Fort Hood here soon, or Fort Cavazos now, whatever it's called, and they they authorize tasers and OC, so I have to get both of them done again. And it's just like, well, that sucks. I can't wait for that. So because you have to get certified in every single base you go to, so you might have your law enforcement like license and everything and certification, all that stuff, but it doesn't. It just allows you to get trained there as well, which whip-de-doo. I get to go through like a faster pace now. Cool.
A lot of it just sounds like a lot of frat stuff. Like a lot of it sounds like both literal frat stuff in like the like how people, but then also just systematized logic. But like it's just frat stuff still. It's like a hazing kind of, mental toughness testing kind of thing. But I mean, there's also an element where I think the instructors are all the people in charge, just like seeing the people, like seeing if they can take it kind of thing. There's this like level of like they just kind of want to see that. Rather than being like strictly necessary, they kind of just want to see if the person like what they're made of,
Yeah, they do a lot of that there. Like they definitely, especially my senior drill sergeant, that guy was just wild. he got away with like way too much. I have some moments where it's just like, I could have probably said something, but I didn't have the balls to speak up at the time. Like there was just no way. Like I remember like I forgot what drill sergeant. No, I remember it was but one of the drill sergeants, we were in the bay, and he had an ammo can, and I don't remember why he brought the ammo can. He was doing something, but someone messed up, and they were right next to me. So he wailed that ammo can all the way across the room, and it literally hit me in the head, and I was bleeding. Oh, I was like, oh my gosh, dude! Like, what the frick? I just remember like looking back up, and I was like, what did I do?
Oh my god!
And there was like no apology, nothing like that. I was like, get the frick out, private. I was like, dude, are you kidding me? I didn't even do anything. I just got hit by an ammo can in the head. Like, what the frick? Like that thing's like 30 pounds getting.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like a cinder block at your head. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I remember I was just like, wow. And I remember telling everyone about that like later that day, and no one cared. I was like, wow, like that's so crazy. But I was like, whatever. I can't really. Well, I probably could do something about it, but I'm not gonna. Like, I'm just gonna stick to myself and get through this training. Yeah. No, they get away with a lot.
That's like a lot of what's been missed by these like Business Insider, because a lot of it's also puff pieces. Like they always like show everybody like happy and smiling at the end as if it's like and I think the people they pick are the people that are the most photogenic, the most enticing for recruiters, because there's a major recruitment problem at the moment. For sure. I think, and so I'm not like saying this is bad, but but it's so interesting how it all gets framed, and kind of talking to people who actually go through it. It's just totally different experience. It seems like.
Yeah, no, I mean they catch some things pretty spot on. Like it's just they they definitely don't emphasize the intensity of what's actually happening there. Like you're right about like the photogenic people and stuff like that. Like they'll like highlight the studs, like like or something like that. Or like I watched an air assault video, They were literally following like the highest ranks in the freaking army through air assault, and I was like, yeah, no kidding. Like, dude, like, what the frick? How about we follow like a freaking private or something? You know, like I'm curious on how they're doing. Like day zero, I bet you they're failing. Like I'm
There's
curious
such
about.
a rock star mentality among the special forces too, where they're so like they get all the glory. They kind of like, I don't know. There's a weird, especially with how the like doctrine and strategy has changed in the global war on terror. Like there's such an emphasis on the elite tier 1 operator type people, and like you see that in Hollywood, you see that at all. But there's like a million people operating daily US like global military operations, and most of them have no jobs even close to like that. It's kind of wild, you know.
Dude, it's just wild that you can actually like keep up with what I'm saying. Like, and I actually like you could say things that like I didn't expect you to know. Like do you like do your research for like fun? Like, how do you know about this?
Yeah, I just know a lot about different stuff, but also I've had people serve in various branches that are in my family, and they've told me stuff, and it's like made me be like, oh, that's interesting. And yeah, like I heard someone talk about, I forget where, but just talking about being like the feeling of being a quote grunt, and feeling like there are people on bases that can just do whatever they want and get away with
Oh,
it because they're like these special forces rock stars, and they just can like just fuck with people. And it just I don't know, it always stuck with me. Like that just seemed crazy to me because the special forces people should be relying on the people around them and see them as like, oh, I need to be nice to these people because these are people that ultimately do like the support that allows me to do these missions. But it's like it seems to be the opposite, where they feel like they can get away with stuff. Not always, I'm sure there's a lot, but just yeah, you know, that mentality. I don't know. That's maybe it's
yeah, you're so right about that. It's actually crazy. Like I remember one time, and it was my like one of the first times I ever saw a Green Beret. I was like, wow, look at that. And he walked
yeah.
by an officer, and he was just wearing whatever the frick he wanted to wear. I was like, what the heck is this Green Beret?
Wow.
Like I was like, this is so weird to me. And then he walked by an officer, and the officer was like, no salute. And I remember he said something like F off. Like that's what the Green Beret said to the
Wow.
officer. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude. Like I guess he could just do whatever the heck he wants. Like cool, good for him. I was on like what was it? It was a guard base. What was the base? It was like Camp something. Camp Shelby. I think that's where I was. I've been to a lot of National Guard bases because we'll do like our range weeks and stuff there, so it's kind of hard to keep up with which one I was at. But they yeah, no, I remember seeing that. I was on my way to the PX, and I was just like, what the frick? Like I was like,
That's so
that's
wild.
my
Yeah.
first impression of a Green Beret. But like the more I learn about them, the more I'm like, yeah, no, I understand. I guess like
They've been
the God
through
training
the
is just
most.
unreal.
Yeah. Well, there's a great podcast called The Team House, run by two former, like one Army Ranger, one Green Beret that I listen to a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I think it's like there's like but yeah, like when you're saying they're wearing whatever they want, they're not saluting. Like one of my
Yeah.
friends, he was in I think the Navy cryptology division in like the like Pacific, like under PACOM or whatever. And he was saying that, yeah, like there were demerits or like it goes on your record in some way if you're not saluting the officer that as they walk by you, like everything needs to stop. You need to be dressed perfectly almost all the time. And
Yeah.
yeah, just hearing people walking around kind of disheveled, it just seems crazy.
Yeah, it is nuts. Like, especially, I don't know, just kind of like normally being in that environment, like hearing that. If someone was to tell me that, like while I was in like training or something, I'd be like, wow, that's nuts. Like,
Yeah.
I almost never hear anything like it because, like, just I don't know. There's so much emphasis on doing the right thing, like integrity, stuff like that, and then like hearing like the best of the best, just doing whatever the heck they want. It's just like really like it's just nuts to
Yeah.
me. Like I guess they can get away with it, so like I mean do whatever, I guess, whatever, but or I don't know.
But no, I mean, it's just like but those experiences overseas kind of motivated some of the griping I've heard from, cousins and stuff at like family reunions about just not feeling like their contributions were acknowledged, or like the kind of there's like the kind of like not stolen valor, but just like the overvalorization of like so there's this guy, Tim Kennedy, who is a, special forces guy. That's his whole brand. He was a UFC fighter. He was a, History Channel Finding Hitler guy, but fundamentally he's an Army Ranger, and he writes a book about his experiences. And he essentially implies that he took injuries that would guarantee him a Purple Heart, but there's nothing on his record like that. And people who have reviewed his book, like, talked to his, people in his squad and his platoon and stuff. And
Yeah.
not that he wasn't a hero. What he did was so crazy, but it wasn't crazy in like a cinematic movie way. Like he described
Yeah.
their base being breached, hand-to-hand combat, fighting with shovels. Like I got hit him in the, when really it was a firefight with like one, like the, like Al-Qaeda, like 70 kilometers away.
I mean,
like coming
crazy.
at, and like they didn't even get close to the base. They just shot him from a distance. And like, yeah, you're still protecting the base. You dodged mortar fire. You did your job. You protected things. But he would describe things like breaking down in ways that were so unrealistic. And
Yeah.
yet, like that puts a false info in people's minds of like what the military actually is and what real heroism is, I think.
Yeah, no, that's actually kind of weird. Like hearing that, because it's like he probably has amazing stories. It's
Actual
like
stories. Yeah.
guessing about that. Like, like, I mean, if I was getting shot from like 70 meters away, I'd be like, wow, I was getting shot by like some terrorist overseas, that'd be my story there. You know what I mean? But like, no,
Yeah.
Some crazy
Had to do
story.
hand-to-hand combat. Yeah, or another one was that he like they were getting enemy fire and he like jumped out of the Humvee. He like jumped and like we're gonna take him on. And the guys talking were like, if you're taking small arms fire in an armored truck, you stay in the truck. Like, don't
Heck
tell
yeah.
kids. Don't tell kids get out and risk your life. It's not a movie. Like he's like, there are kids reading this that are gonna go in and think, remember this, and it's gonna get them killed. And I was like, yeah, that's so crazy.
That's the whole point of combat lock on it. Like it's the whole point of it. So honestly, him having the knowledge that he does, it's kind of weird that he would make that story. Like it really is, because that's the whole point of combat locking on an Humvee. Like that's the whole point. So it's just
The
weird.
purpose of why it was made. That vehicle exists for that. Like it's yeah.
the
But
whole
I think there's a Hollywood thing where it's like, I don't know, it's kind of connected to the special forces thing, rock star mentality of like, no, like I am like Jack Reacher. I am Jack Reacher, literally. And like and that's their brand. And I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about. See, I don't really see things very often, so it's kind of cool to hear, things going on. I'm not really informed.
So valid.
No, it seems like you're very knowledgeable. Like you just know a lot about a lot of different topics.